Hello, good afternoon, evening, or morning, wherever you are, and welcome to another NerdTube Live fan film premiere reaction. We are here tonight with the fan film event of the year, Crisis on Infinite Excalibers from Avalon Universe. We will be joined by the star and writer and director after the presentation. So you'll want to stick around for that. But we are in for one hell of a show tonight. That is partly because of my incredible co-hosts. I am joined by, to my right, cousin Cheeto. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm here and I'm ready to be blown away.
I expect that you're not going to be disappointed. I hope you've got your socks on. And below is, well, we've got a special visitor this time of year here at NerdTube, and that is my good friend Zanta Claus. How are you tonight, Zanta?
Hi. Merry Christmas, my friends. And I have to say, I'm very looking forward to this ISIS on Infinity Earth. Yes, I can't wait. I'm looking
Not
forward to it.
ISIS, Xanta,
Oh,
Crisis. I'm
I'm sorry. The crisis. Yes, this is exciting times ahead, and I can't wait not only to watch this, but also to interview the cast members afterwards. I have some interesting questions to give them.
I'm sure that your questions are like nothing they've ever been asked before, and I look forward to hearing them. Um, Almost as much as I'm looking forward to this fan film, and it's sure to be a doozy. Everything that I've seen from Avalon Universe so far has been incredible, and I'm sure that I've been assured that this is going to take the cake. I'd like to start off tonight, like talking about like kind of what your overall impressions with this production have been so far. I know you guys have kind of a longer history with them than I have. So, Cheeto, what to you makes Avalon Universe stand out in the realm of Trek fan films?
Production value. I am a big production value person. Like, I get it. It's not going to be big budget production, but they make do with what they have, and they do a pretty damn good job of it. They use the sets and they use locations, and probably they do as much as they do on their productions is probably what they were doing in the 60s. And honestly, for a budgeted production versus something that's not very budgeted, they do a fantastic job, like comparatively. Like this, they do great with lighting, they do great with camera work, they do great with actors and sound production. And yes, even the VFX are top, like usually top notch, thanks to the all I don't want to say the all encompassing. What's the word I'm looking for? The great works of Sam Cockings, who does a lot of great work with the VFX in all of the Avalon films. I know he does other films too, but so I mean, there's a production value to this fan film franchise, and I'm not knocking fan films that don't have a lot of like a lot of big production to them, but I'm definitely saying that it's if for me personally, for me, it is definitely a tip, like a huge tip in the right direction.
Uh, prof- Production value kind of instills a sense of professionalism and attention to detail, and those are aspects of the Avalon Universe productions that I feel do strongly stand out. And I can see that being such a big sticking point, or think that you would be looking for in a fan film. And I agree, they really stand kind of above. But that being said, it's the devil is in the details, and it's so hard when just to there's so many things to be on top of, especially when you're on a shoestring. Santa Claus, what to you makes Avalon Universe films special?
The storytelling is just really good. Like from what I've seen in the past, they know how to make a good Star Trek story in a short space of time and make it feel relevant, make it feel Star Trekky. Because sometimes people give a Star Trek aesthetic, but don't necessarily give the Star Trek vibe. And these guys definitely do that. And I like the different directions they go. They have so much variation in what they do. It can be a serious one, it could be an action-packed one, it could be a comedy, it could be an amalgamation of various things, and that is what makes, in my opinion, Avalon probably the best Star Trek fan filmmakers in YouTube and social media. In my opinion, they're cut above nearly everybody else, and the sets, of course, and everything else, the aesthetics. They just look so good, good acting as well. There's so many things that has to come together to make a good production, and they just hit the nail on the head every time, most of the time.
I understand that there might be an outlier or two, but there's always the exception to prove the rule. Um, and I think you have a very good point there, Xanta. It's one thing to just go onto a set or slap on a jacket like this and act out and throw out techno babble and give a Star Trek veneer to a normal story. But I feel that you're absolutely correct that Avalon Universe tells a Trek style of story. They get all the other things incredibly right, and it feels authentic. But it definitely it's great storytelling, and you've got wonderful points. It's so easy to slap the veneer onto something and call it a Trek fan film, but it's another endeavor altogether to write a story that is intrinsically Trek.
In some of the previous films they've done in the Avalon universe, Josh has incorporated things like drones to give, just at times just a vast visual identity to maybe what planet these people are on. Obviously, they're shooting on Earth and all of that, but they're given, they'll use certain locations that gives this sort of alien feel, and then they'll try to give you an idea like how vast everything is, and they'll use a drone shot or something like that. It's very good, very clever storytelling. Giving you an idea of what's going on as you see it visually. And it's yeah. Uh, it's top notch directing, top notch editing, fan filmmaking. It's another level with Avalon. Honestly, it really is. And these guys have been working together for years. They know each other inside and out. It's almost becoming second nature to them.
When it's like breathing to work with somebody, it absolutely makes the overall level of work come up to that top tier. And I feel like you hit another really good point. Just that the way they seem to work together, you can tell the bond of friendship between Tyler and Josh is apparent when you speak to them, when you see them on screen together, when you see the way that Tyler interacts with the dialogue Josh writes for him. But you noted location selection and picking locations that make it feel alien, and that's something tough to do, and it's very easy to just choose a random place nearby where you can get all your actors together and do an outdoor shot. It's another thing altogether to be mindful of that sort of thing.
Yeah, I agree, and I hope they keep up with the inventiveness and the storytelling. It must be really difficult at times to come up with fresh original storytelling as well, and also the crossovers they have done as well with people like the Eric Menard character, um, who's part of the Constar universe and all of that. So it's good. And they brought him in. They brought Savant Major into the universe. For fan films. It's ever expanding, and if you're somebody like if you're people like us who've been watching so many, God knows how many of these fan films we've watched. I've lost count now. Uh, it's very rewarding when you see things like that, the crossovers and stuff like that. It's great. I love it.
With a name like Crisis on Infinite Excalibers, I'm sure we're going to see kind of crossovers we do see coming, like the appearance of the Stanley of fan films. Can't wait for that cameo. But I suspect there might be some crossovers or maybe cameos that we don't necessarily see coming tonight, and I look forward to being surprised. Um,
Yeah, me too. Whatever they give us, I have no idea what I'm going to be getting. I'm totally clueless on this. I'm going in the dark. You know, uh, I'm not sure if they're using influences from other types of media, like the DC universe with their crisis
it's a
storylines. Is
perfect
it going to be like
segue.
that? Is
Perfect
it going to
segue.
be like that? I have no idea, but that's a good thing. Like surprise me. Make me have a good time. That's all I care about. This Saturday needs to be enjoyable and fun, and they tend to do that quite often. And they're very passionate too. These guys, they love what they're doing. And they're always thinking of the next thing. As soon as they finish the current thing, it's great.
He doesn't even have it released yet, but Josh is already talking about that next project, and it's like it burns a hole in his pocket. The man has to get it out there, and the passion is readily apparent when you see the product.
Yeah, for sure.
I do
We're starting in
apologize
a
for
few
being
minutes.
I do apologize for being quiet. I'm sharing out the stream. So, but
Spam it away.
yeah, and
That's the only
anyone in the
reason I'm not throwing it to you, my guy.
yep,
I would throw it to you
we all know you throw it at me 24/7.
on the regular. What they don't
And
know is
just
how much you enjoy it.
and just
That's
so
right.
people know, we will be interviewing the actors after the film is over. They're gonna come and join us. So
Yep. As soon as they're done with their interaction with their fans on their live premiere, they're going to be jumping right over here after our reactions. It's sure to be a great interview. It's always a pleasure to speak to those gentlemen. The passion that they have for making the project, they also have for like communicating about the project, and it's something that can be hard to do after the exhaustion of creating any content, is just putting yourself out there to promote it, because it's a different beast entirely, and it's a different sort of putting yourself out there. It's one thing to be in character or hide behind the script that you've written, but the sort of genuine human interactions that have to go into promoting any sort of content, it's something they don't warn you about when you go into it. It's something that I've kind of realized the hard way. This is something you have to work around. So we're getting to the nitty gritty. We're 1 minute away. Is there anything that you're hoping to see from tonight's production, Zanta? Something that would really make your night to see in this film?
explosions.
Explosions?
Yeah, and like something that makes me think, wow, that is big budget, baby. Like maybe some interactions with some spaceships. I don't know. It's like it's hard to say. Like see, when you're doing a fan film, you don't have the luxury of the special effects side of things. You have to try and keep people drawn in with your acting and your sets and your costumes to make it feel authentically Star Trek. But if they can give us some of the wham bam, thank you ma'am special effects side of things to make it really feel like a big budget production, with some good special effects and maybe some ship interactions and some dog fighting in space, that would be very interesting in my opinion.
I really hope that the special effects are as grand as I'm thinking they're going to be, because there's a little bit of inside info that we got earlier this morning about the effects budget that we'll hold off until we have Josh and Tyler on with us to talk about. But I feel like that's something that needs to be brought up. I feel like the people need to know how committed they are to putting this work out there. It was truly awe-inspiring to me when I heard it. It made me question my own commitment to my content. just how far they're willing to go. And I hope that everybody watching along with us tonight will appreciate it and see that hard work as much as I know the three of us do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's amazing, like how Star Trek has influenced people to do this type of thing, and at the same time, how we feel about seeing people do this type of thing themselves. You know what they're capable of doing with no money. You know, these are not Shakespearean trained actors. These are just regular people. Doing the stuff they love, and it's great to see when it comes up well. Welcome, Vector. Nice to see you, man. Oh yes, my son.
It's my folks from Fecto Studios and Harris Film Productions. Good evening. It looks like we've also had Ginger Greek and Ryan Jelly Eels with us tonight.
Yep, called us whores.
That's on
where
brand.
I'll see them out. Ginger says 3 on screen. That's right, baby.
That tracks from both of them, but great guys.
All right. Hey, guys, I go by Big J. You're in for a treat tonight. So we are.
Oh, yes, I can't wait, my friend.
Hyperspace windows forming.
You guys hear it okay?
Yes, sir. Oh, wow.
So not just a Trek crossover, but franchise.
Solution Alliance.
Oh, they got the
Powering weapons.
here.
Shields to maximum. Major Hunter, fire all 4 railgun batteries.
Oh, we're getting the future in space, baby.
He's happy. I see him.
What happened? Where are we?
We're in the same system, but the motherships have gone. No trace.
Detecting multiple other ships.
Oh my god, this is
Designs I don't
Stargate.
recognize.
Today just got a little more complicated.
Captain's log, Stardate 7002.3. The USS Excalibur has arrived in the Cavis Alpha sector to investigate a powerful gravitational anomaly reported by Starfleet Command.
We've arrived in the Calvis Alpha star system.
You're up, Commander Allenby.
The adjustments in the plasma flow were the final piece of the puzzle. Energy conversion efficiency is at 93%. No damage to the coils.
The new coils can handle a lot more energy output in this configuration, but they're sensitive.
Stanley,
Too little, and there's just
films,
not enough
baby.
Cochrane distortion to create the kind of truly powerful warp field we're going for.
With no V-man.
Too much, and you could fry the coils.
You really know your stuff. We were really tearing out our hair over this, not that I have much hair to tear out.
Yeah, ball jokes.
Captain, is everything okay?
It's just that you reminded me of another engineer that I worked with once.
Was it your girlfriend? Did she die?
Jamie Archer.
That's got
Oh.
the
You're not the first person to make that comparison.
It's not just the skill, it's the drive. That kind of drive could get someone stranded on a deserted planet. Or killed during an EVA.
I hate to say it, it's got a bit of
Still,
a Nazi thing
you
going
don't get
on
into
there.
Starfleet because it's safe there.
I'm sorry.
There's a reason why she was the chief engineer of the ship. And it's the same reason why you'll be chief engineer when I leave for the Constar.
I don't know what to say. Don't you think I'm a little young for the job?
You're the same age she was. And I know you can do this. And since I'm captain, I make the decisions like this.
I'll give it my all, Captain. Oh. Red line on the primary impulse drive.
Diverting emergency power.
What have you gotten us into this time, Michaela?
Plasma flow is at 100%, but it's not enough.
We can increase to 125%.
That can destroy the ship.
Do it slowly and cycle the power impulses. If ever there was a time to give it our all, it's now.
Captain's log, Stardate 7002.3. Michaela Allenby recording. The Excalibur has been dispatched to the Cavus Alpha sector after the starship Antilles detected massive gravitational waves emanating from a powerful neutron star. Preliminary readings indicate that the waves are expanding. Our mission is to study the cause of the phenomenon in preparation for a possible evacuation of nearby Federation colonies.
Great angles, like so cinematic.
Report. Holding position at the L1 Lagrange point between the fourth planet and the primary star.
The neutron star's gravitational field is expanding and growing stronger. It's now 6 times its normal intensity.
How can a star's gravity change?
Unknown. The red giant is being pulled closer. The orbits of the planets are beginning to destabilize.
Captain, we're losing our position.
Hard about. Full impulse.
Impulse engines are failing.
Warp speed.
These readings can't be right. It's almost as if there were 10 neutron stars occupying the same space at the same time.
It says neutron
Bridge
times
engineering,
10.
give us maximum warp.
We're overloading the dilithium crystal chamber, Captain.
Warning,
there's Archer.
reactor core coolant failure.
Push it right to the edge.
Structural integrity weakening.
Oh no, the bright light.
So on brand TOS. Like,
are they dead?
Let's hope not. Oh snap!
Romulans.
Oh no.
No, not Romulans. That's
the
Open.
Odyssey class. Correct.
That's Open.
Is that a Federation starship?
The registry and transponder signal read NCC 1705.
Yeah, it's
USS Excalibur.
I mean, we just saw it on the screen, so.
Oh, this is the crossovers, my friends. My goodness. They really ended 2023 with a bang, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Socks are already blown off and we're just getting started.
Captain's log, supplemental. We have somehow been pulled into a dimension outside of our own space-time continuum, to a realm that has a quantum signature completely different from our own natural universe. At present, we don't know how we got here, or how to get back.
You said we've left our space-time continuum. Explain.
All matter and energy within sensor range is oscillating at a different frequency at the subatomic level than anything on this ship or in the known universe. So it makes sense that we are no longer in our own quantum reality.
Quantum realities? You mean like parallel universes?
Exactly. For any event, there's an infinite number of possible outcomes, and our choices determine the outcomes. Now, there is a theory in quantum physics that any possibility that can happen does happen and exists in an alternate quantum reality. Our universe is part of an ever-expanding multiverse. There could be a reality out there where the Excalibur has a different captain, or where you never even joined Starfleet.
Or one where I live my dream of being a holographic soap opera star.
Oh god.
It's like
TOS
Doctor, but on
comedy, oh my
ropes.
god.
Whoa.
Where did that ship come from?
No.
The Etzelbergs?
Abram style.
We need to stay alert on the helm. That's going to keep happening.
Message coming in, sir.
This is Captain Jennings of the USS Excalibur.
Hello, Jim.
Our life support is...
Jennings? Isn't he the guy who works in waste reclamation and wears the really ugly sweaters?
Antimatter request emergency.
Captain Allenby, their antimatter containment field is failing.
All available power to forward shields. Helm, full reverse.
They just wanted to blow up the Kelvin Connie class.
No.
Yeah, no. But
Their containment
let us
field
know how
must
you
have been
really feel
extremely
about the
fragile.
Abrams works.
Warmest greetings from the Love Federation.
Oh no.
Oh,
I
it's
am
Universe
Captain
420.
Flower Blossom Allenby of the Love Ship designation Excalibur. And this is my first officer, Commander
Of course it
Presley.
is.
Who needs a hound dog when you got a collie? Thank you very much.
It seems as though we have only one option here.
All these ships
Have to fight.
All these crews.
If we're going to get out of here alive,
we gotta
We're
fight.
all going to have to work together.
The Mirror Universe, excellent.
That's Terran, huh? Oh yeah.
Yep, Terran Empire ship.
Yeah,
This is gonna be confusing as hell.
Terran Empire wouldn't.
But would it get them what they wanted? They'll use them until they get what they want.
That's true.
That's why the
Thank
Terrans
you for agreeing
rule.
to work
Oh,
together,
wow.
Captain.
Is something wrong, Captain?
No, it's fine. I'm Captain Allenby.
Commodore Amari.
Chikonde.
And my first officer.
Commander Michaela Allenby, I'm guessing.
Very good. Very
Since
good.
your ship shares the same quantum signature as this universe, I thought this would be a good place to start. Allow me to introduce my crew. This is my first officer, D.D. Mason, and my chief of engineering.
Hi, Lieutenant Jamie Archer. Yes, as in. Nice to meet you all.
Yes, as in. Oh my God.
Something interesting, Commodore?
All these universes meeting for the first time, I'm sure a lot of interesting things will happen. Commander, please escort them to the briefing room.
Hi.
An invasion.
We haven't heard from Command or another ship in months, so we can't help but wonder if we're the last ones to escape the Klingons.
Can't imagine that. All of Starfleet just gone.
They took us by surprise. Our entire civilization was focused on peace talks.
Oh, okay.
Sure,
So we didn't mobilize until it was too late.
Yeah, I'm sure.
A compiled analysis of the sensor readings from each of our ships indicates that we have all been pulled into some kind of gravitational bubble.
I think it's
don't
Archer's
know.
granddaughter.
Some
I thought it was
kind of?
granddaughter, yeah.
What kind of?
From Enterprise.
And you misspelled best Trek.
I know you're
Attention.
doing that on purpose. Good. Then you should also know that I hate vague scientific language. I think we need to be specific if we're going to get out of this.
We can go on together with suspicious minds. And we can build.
Not the right time, Presley.
Easy now, Mama. Don't get all shook up. Hey, what do you know? It's a cowboy version of me.
Wow,
That's the
you're
cowboy
easily
from Back to
impressed.
the Future 3.
The gravitational field. Sorry. It just reminds me of this theory that I've read about in which a static warp bubble could be created. It wouldn't warp space in the traditional sense, but it more create a static area of subspace.
In this case, the gravity of the neutron star is being used to do this on a massive scale. How did this happen?
We were conducting a stellar survey of this system using our new sensor array. Our sensors detected technology inside the obelisk on the fourth planet, a planet that has been dead for thousands of years. While conducting their scans, our landing party accidentally activated the ancient technology.
My sensor reading suggested that the beam created a breach between multiple quantum realities, in effect making the neutron star more dense. The gravitational field was magnified times 10 without the stars coming into physical contact with one another. We're theorizing that at the exact moment we tried to engage our warp engines, the Planetary Union vessel engaged its quantum drive, creating a tear in subspace across realities.
So our quantum drive operates on a wider spectrum, but uses the same basic principle. With the barriers between realities blurred, there could have been a tear.
In essence, we all fell into a subspace well, which is why we haven't been crushed by the gravitational forces. Yet.
And we can't even send Lassie for help.
As long as she doesn't.
Here's the best part.
As long
We're
as
from a
she
point in
doesn't-
time in our universe.
As long as she
that's
doesn't try to go
200 years
after
in your future.
Which
Menard.
means that time can
Like,
travel at
she's
different
gonna
rates
misery
in
him,
different
I feel
universes.
like.
Which could add all kinds of complications if we don't act soon.
Captain Chikonde,
Man, this actress is doing
this is
so
your
well.
universe. What do you think?
While you investigate the obelisk, we'll see if we can trade supplies with the other ships and get us all in a better place to work together.
Viva Obelisk! Viva Obelisk!
Not the right time, Presley.
Come on, baby, don't be cruel.
I'll meet you on the surface in 30 minutes.
Dismissed.
All three of them are in the same frame. That was
She's
good.
evil because she's wearing a
Right?
leather jacket.
Oh, she's got a nose ring too.
Well,
Oh, yeah, of
and
course.
Can't ignore that.
And red lipstick.
well, and I'm trying to think.
Your ship seems to be significantly different than most of the other Constitution class ships trapped here.
No, look at
Yeah,
the
most
Wait
of
a
the new
minute.
systems on our ship were
Is
pioneered
that-
about 10 years ago on an experimental line of
evil
ships called
Menard?
Crossfield
Is that
class.
Miramar?
I've never heard of it.
Word is they were also experimented with a new propulsion system, but couldn't get it to work.
Eric, why is everyone looking at me the way that you've been looking at me for the last hour?
The Phantom.
She's dead, huh?
Did you guys caught him back there?
Oh, yeah.
Is Josh really gonna do that to B-Man? He's gonna kill his girlfriend again?
That's what you do. V-Man's girlfriend has to die.
The Phantom.
We need to find a way to activate this control
Oh,
panel.
this is amazing.
It appears to draw power
Those
directly from the
tricorders.
planet's molten core. Intriguing.
Simultaneous.
We need to be careful with our scans.
Wow.
The last time the console was scanned, the landing party set off some kind of defense sequence. Without scanning it, how in the hell are we supposed to figure out how not to trip another booby trap?
A little less conversation, a little more action.
The Elvis puns are on point.
We've never
Like, they're
encountered anything
perfectly
like this
timed.
before. Remember that wise man who once said, "Only fools rush in"? This guy is one of the best minds in his universe. Boy, are they screwed.
This thing could be loaded with traps. I really think you should take a step back.
Not yet, Flower Blossom. I just can't help believing. I just can't help believing that this time this console's gonna.
Oh, that's the best thing to ever happen so far in this movie.
As I can help falling onto the floor.
What? The amalgamation of humor and
He
seriousness
deactivated
you
the
guys were
traps.
speaking about earlier perfectly
working.
embodied right here.
Feel my temperature rising. Help me, I'm flaming. Must be 109.
I'm sorry, but I have to get him back to our ship.
We'll continue on here. Good luck.
Love ship Excalibur. This is Flower Blossom. Medical emergency. Beam Commander Presley and myself directly to sickbay.
Groovy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Presley has left the obelisk. Incredible! The beam isn't just opening a breach. It's using the neutron star as a gravitational lens to scan alternate quantum states. It's looking at the future of infinite
There's an
universes,
R2 unit.
which explains
I saw
why
an
the tear is
R2
expanding
unit,
to more
yeah.
quantum states. And it will keep expanding until we stop it, threatening infinite starship Excalibers in infinite universes. And worse than that, it could tear a hole in the
Muppets.
multiverse itself.
Puppet, yeah.
We found these obelisks on other worlds in our reality. They were created by a race called the Preservers. Seeing this, suddenly so many of their actions make sense. They would move endangered species to new homes across the galaxy. This must be how they ran their predictive models and figured out who to save. In our universe, they went so far as to place an energy barrier around the entire galaxy. This scan is going beyond the multiverse. That must be how they're able to scan so many possible timelines. They're tapping into the very dimension where the multiverse converges. The cosmic data stream. I wonder if all Michaela's Allenby call it that. Proper grammar. Nice. Somehow, the Preservers learned how to scan the cosmic stream itself.
Galaxy Quest.
Astonishing. This would give them unlimited knowledge. But it begs one massive question. What happened to them? Maybe they went there, where they combined with infinite versions of their own doppelgangers, becoming infinite beings existing in a state where space, time, and thought all become one.
Deep breaths, Michaelas.
It's a question we may unfortunately not have time to answer. It looks like we can close the breach by reversing the frequency and simply shutting it down. But we still have the tear to worry about. If we move our ships together and emit a broad spectrum warp field, that might reseal the tear. It's going to be quite a feat of engineering. We'll need to figure out the precise frequency to harmonize the warp fields of every ship. I have an idea about that.
Oh no.
The menagerie of Menards.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first meeting of the Transdimensional Council of Menard.
It was an idea I got from an ancient science fiction television show.
Right, The Flash.
Rick and Morty.
Uh-oh.
There's my favorite.
Wubba lubba dub dub.
There he is. He's about to F stuff.
What are you seeing
up.
out there, Captain? Long-range sensors indicate
right.
the formation of a black
No wig.
hole.
0 out of 10.
The system is still there. We can see it.
We don't want to question
But
if
it's being
something's a
distorted
wig or not a wig,
by
remember?
gravitational lensing.
Gravitational lensing at this distance?
I can't understand it, Admiral. The entire system has collapsed into a gravitational phenomenon we've never encountered before.
The Excalibur?
There's no sign of them, sir.
The compositing, absolutely, Harry, absolutely the compositing. I was going to point that out.
You wanted to talk? A little bit like looking into a mirror, huh? I guess that's what happens when you meet your doppelganger from a mirror universe. You realize that to me, you're the one from a mirror universe. Yeah,
Can I just say
guess
she's
you're right.
crushing it?
You know,
She is.
I can be a reflection for you. We're alike, but not. You have so much potential, and you don't even see it, do you? I don't know what you're talking about. I hate seeing you like this, knowing all that you could be. Here you are taking orders. Soon you'll be just like that other one. Dull, dead inside. I like my life just the way it is. Is it me you're trying to convince, or yourself? What does it matter to you? Because we're the same, you and I. If you had lived my life, you would understand that. We do have a situation to solve here. Maybe we should get back to that. About that. Let our ship be the focal point of the energy beam. But that's the most dangerous part of the whole plan. I know how you doubt yourself. Let me show you what you're capable of. That you have the courage to do whatever it takes.
That's a
You
trap.
have the intelligence, the drive.
It is
What
absolutely
you
a
deserve
trap.
is the honor, the prestige, the respect. You don't have to be this silly, clumsy girl. You can be powerful. I know that's what you've always wanted. But I don't. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to learn from the road not taken, and you should take it. You're a fool if you don't.
Join the dark side of the force.
Okay.
See, I feel like if this was the movie Demons, that scene would have lasted like 5 minutes longer. I love how they're not letting it
Our
drag
medical
out.
supplies are finite.
The pacing's on
I would
point.
suggest trying to
Usually
avoid
is with Avalon, though.
injuries.
Yeah.
Well, you know we wouldn't be in this situation if you Vulcans hadn't weakened the Empire with your delusions of peace.
Spock was weak. I am not.
Hey, take it easy with that thing.
It's a Terran Vulcan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
She's had it up to
Your
here
setting
with
is too high.
being oppressed.
You need to knit the bone slower, or it won't mend properly.
I thought he was getting a tattoo.
You may leave sickbay, Chief Waldron.
He looked worse off than before he came in.
Did you need something? I'm just here to deliver these medical supplies. I Guess so that you don't have to torture your patients. Just put them down where you're at. You may also leave sickbay.
I would say yes, we are having a great time, V-Man. Stanley of Fan Films himself.
I'm literally having to scoot myself back closer to the monitor. It keeps literally blowing me away.
Hey, isn't this where she like Ponfar'd some dude? Like right in this spot?
Yeah, that's the same character, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's
Thank
so
you,
much
Captain
going on
Conte,
here,
for
man.
helping us with provisions and medical
There's so many
supplies.
subplots going on. It's amazing.
Lending a hand is what we do. Besides, I appreciate the tour of the ship. It's interesting to notice the subtle differences. Some not so subtle. I hate to ask, but I noticed some of your crew members carry scars. Look like they've been in the fight of their lives. But not you. You're just as pristine as any of your doppelgangers.
Not all scars are on the surface, Captain.
I told you to secure the circuit before beginning repairs. You could have destroyed the entire assembly.
Sorry, Captain.
Agonizer again.
Is that really necessary, Captain?
Don't you dare pass judgment on my actions. You have no idea what I've had to go through to keep this crew alive. We could be the last ship. If I don't maintain a firm control, humanity could die with us.
Don't lose your humanity to save it, Captain.
I can see it.
You know, if we didn't need each other, this could be fun. You have a strong spirit and a soft heart. And that'll get you killed in space.
I miss you too, my friend.
I think we're done here.
It's been a long time, Fancy boy.
Thanks for the tour.
So true, V-Man. It's apparent with every frame. And yes, Ginger, they are going to shag. Or for the Americans, bang.
Oh, nice.
You know it's
Those two are going to shag for sure.
Screw this up. Succeed, and we'll beam you back at the last second. Fail, and you die.
See, they can't help it. You know, even when they have to work together, they should have to be evil. We have to be evil.
So is that Mirror Archer?
Archer 2, my nerd.
Yeah.
This is another Archer.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I have the beam frequency from the obelisk. Sending it to you now.
Gentlemen, I believe I have the answer.
Go for Arioka.
Hey, I've got the results of that tricorder scan we talked about.
I agree.
By the way, I love the tat.
Thanks.
Can I just get V-Man in every episode of Trek, please?
Mm-hmm. The evil guy.
Oh, you knew the Mirror Universe was going to be the bad guys in this.
It would have been a waste if they hadn't been.
It's like, what's their goal now? Like, to put a spanner in the works? Like, why? They're all trying to get home.
No, actually, I think... no, she said
just
she's the
found the
last
cure
one.
for the Drock plague.
Oh, Babylon 5.
And started a mission of pure exploration. And then this happens. First time doing a multiverse adventure?
Chakande to Allenby. You're up.
We're ready on our end. Allenby out.
Yes, I'm a fanboy
time
now,
to go
and I
home.
was just saying to my wife earlier today, it's like 2 years ago, I would never have imagined myself so excited to be sitting here watching the premiere of a fan film. I was like, "What's a fan film?" And then I met these guys.
Oh, Battlestar Galactica. Oh my god, the stars. Oh my god.
Oh!
Oh my god, it was all here.
Was that Thunderbirds?
Oh my god, it's everything. How is this possible?
Kind of like looking in a mirror, huh? Yeah, I guess. It's fascinating. We're the same, but not. In a way, I envy you. Me? Of course. I miss the blue uniform. No weight of the universe, just pure science. I'm glad you stuck to what you loved and followed your heart. I'm sure Dad pushed you to command like he did me. I bet he's really proud of you. You know how Dad is. He calls me twice a week. He cried when I got my command braids. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing that compares to commanding a starship. But I prepared my whole life for this because I wanted him to be proud of me. It wasn't until I got here that I stopped to ask myself if it was what I really wanted. I let the training distract me. I thought that being what everyone else expected me to be was the right thing. The daughter of a revered admiral. It was my destiny to command a starship. So here I am, Captain Allenby. But you? You're Michaela.
Perfect music sting.
Your life is your own. I suppose if the wise captain were to have any words of advice, it would be to live it how you choose. Command, science, adventure. Live it for you, and not anyone else.
That was so good.
How's everyone going to get back home?
From the obelisk is reversing polarity. Signal coming through. Excalibur C-137 is moving ahead of the fleet to the focal point to channel the deflector pulse. All other ships are moving into formation.
Almost time to head back to your own ship, Commander Allenby.
We hit to fuck things up, baby.
The barriers are starting to reform.
The lead ship is starting to phase.
They're not phasing back to their own universe.
They're phasing to mine.
Captain, none of the other ships are phasing.
Hail them.
Aye, Captain.
This was your plan all along.
Don't tell me you're surprised. You're responsible for your crew, and I'm responsible for mine. And we are not going back to that hell that we came from. Disengage the warp field, and you'll destroy every ship. Let us go, and you'll survive. At least for a little while. Besides, can't risk any of you coming after us.
You would strand all of us here with no way back?
Ask yourself that question. Because if you had lived my life, you would.
No, I wouldn't. I guess not every Michaela Allenby is the same. It's not about circumstance. We can all overcome circumstance. You are truly evil.
That's so easy to say from your utopian perspective. It must be nice getting to decide your own fate, choosing between good and evil. But maybe this time, I won't let someone else decide for me by sending me back there. You're right, we're not the same. And if the only people who judge me for that are people like you, then I feel pretty confident in who I am.
Her name's Michaela, right?
Michaela.
Captain, we're not phasing
Mirror
into our
Michaela,
universe.
baby. She's here.
Sir? Sir?
I'm here for it. Like, and V-Man's so right.
You ready for that second deflector pulse?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did they go? Were they destroyed?
If we worked out the calculations correctly, they returned to their own universe.
With what they were trying to
What
do
Harry
to all of
said.
us, we would have been justified in destroying them.
If we had, we would be no better than them. I have a feeling, though, I might just run into her again someday. Maybe. Anything's possible. I guess that's the price of doing the right thing.
That was a close one, Jakande. I'm glad it worked.
Amari, thank you for making the right decision. I couldn't kill anyone else for her.
You'll live a better life here with us.
Thank you, Captain. Captain Allenby, I think it's time we exchange hostages.
Bye, Captain Jakande.
Yeah, see you later.
Yeah, no idea what's going on.
No, he knows exactly what's...
Save the day one more time, Jamie
he's
Archer.
the other guy, isn't he?
Once we figured out they were trying to steal our technology, Jamie analyzed the signature of their deflector pulse. That's how we were able to stay one step ahead of them.
Thank you for trusting me in both universes.
Energize.
Ready to go home?
This may still not work.
Hey, don't jinx it.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, Ginger, but you know it's the truth.
Expanse?
Ayoka, tech the tech. Allenby, science the science.
Hey, don't forget to captain the captain.
Oh.
Very good.
Attention all hands. This is the captain.
What the hell?
We're about to attempt to use all our warp energy to seal the interdimensional breach.
What the hell?
There's a chance we could fail, and a chance that our ship could be destroyed in the process.
This isn't going to be an easy ride, but I know that we can get through it together.
Commander Presley and I love you all.
1969.
We are one. As one.
All I ask is that each of you give your best efforts, and we will give you ours. It's been an honor serving with all of you.
God, the dress.
Jakande out.
Asgard Accord, 100%.
Shields are ready. Happy drive
I wonder
engines
who
are
these Stargate guys
fully
are.
powered. We're ready to go.
Prepare to direct the hyperspace window right at the focal point. Should work.
Major Archer says the math checks out.
In Archer we trust.
Focal point computed.
That's right. In Archer we trust.
Weapons at maximum.
Right, Zam?
Yeah,
Xanta's not here.
I say I know he's
Xanta's
not
with
here,
us.
but he can hear
Xanta's
me.
got good taste and loves Enterprise.
Never give up.
Yeah, I love it more than my
Never
own
sweat.
elves.
The Union ship is moving into position.
Fire.
Bye, Orville.
Engage quantum drive.
Here we go.
Why is there a Ferengi ship there?
Profit?
Wait a minute. Was that the Winnebago?
I think so, yes. From Spaceballs.
Oh my god, they got
Oh,
the
really?
Winnebago.
So many references.
Report.
Solar activity returning to normal. And FYI, the next solar explosion is in 96 years from now on stardate 43126.1. The intense gravitational pull of the neutron star consumes all of the stellar material of the red giant until it builds up on the surface and explodes every 196 years. We had a bet on the exact stardate. The captain lost.
We almost died in a bubble universe. And this is the first thing you bring up now that we've escaped.
It's the most science way of knowing that everything is back to normal.
That feels much better. I'll try to be more careful in the Jeffries tubes. Thank you.
Anytime.
Oh, look at that.
So this is it. Your first romantic shuttle flyby in your new command. Are you nervous?
Are you kidding? This is my destiny. I've waited 2 years for this.
I'll never forget this. I'll be sad to see you go, but I guess everybody deserves their happily ever after.
Enjoy the journey, Lieutenant. Say goodbye to Miss Aoka.
Bye.
Oh.
Goodbye, Eobard. Energize.
And that girlfriend destiny to die. At some point.
You
Of course.
sold us out. You'll pay for this.
Wow.
Oh man. It's even better than I thought it was gonna be. Somehow.
Holy cow!
What the...
Ginger, Eobard, Ermagerd. It's a reverse flash. Oh, Menard, yes. Menard got his Captain America, his Steve Rogers ending, his happily ever after. Aww.
If I ask you to leave your career, would you?
Of course. I love
He's-
you.
And it's because I love you.
What the hollow
that I would
soap?
never ask that.
He got his soap.
Victor, I'm pregnant with your child.
That's really good.
Like ticks on the chronometer, so are the star dates of our lives.
If only.
Wow.
That was big.
Holy cow.
Like,
Even Ginger said he loved it. So there, wow.
That's a tough audience right there.
It is a tough audience.
So, yeah, overall thoughts on the production. Let's start with you, Cheeto.
Amazing, absolutely freaking amazing. It was better than I even thought it was going to be. The production value was just off the freaking charts. And yeah, I can't even believe. Just want to make sure that this is the end.
No after credits.
I don't think so.
No, the little soap opera scene was the after credits, but beautiful touch. Just man, oh man. So continue.
Oh, it was amazing. I'm sorry, I'm trying to put in the chat about the interviews, but yeah, I mean, freaking amazing. Zanta, go on ahead. I've got more to say, but we'll break it down in a little bit.
It's what I always love when it comes to these sort of things. A jolly good crossover, and my goodness, did we get it? We saw people in various Star Trek fan film productions that we've reviewed over the years all come together for this. Now, granted, some people had more screen time than others, but regardless, just to get people from all over the world to film their scenes, to culminate and do all of this, and all the costumes and sets and designs and special effects, and just the writing as well to make this work to the degree that it did. It was a phenomenal effort. Now, I will have my criticisms, and because I don't think this was perfect. Those times I was a little bit confused, and I do feel that maybe not enough people got a good amount of screen time, but it's very hard to do that when you're um, with this level of production, and with what time people can offer to do something like this. But still, to have the audacity to pull something like this off and make it as good as it is, you have to commend them for what they did. It was absolutely superb, and it doesn't feel like it's ended just then. We have obviously my favorite character in all of this, Evil Menard, who I love very much at the end, doing his evil things, and hopefully we will see more of him in the future because I can't get enough of that character.
That's why he's Golden Glasses Awards winning Villain of the Year 2022.
He was, yep, the Villain of the Year. He beat out Darth Vader. He beat out what was it, Deidre? He beat out so many villains in 2022 because there were a lot of good ones.
Yeah,
but no, deserved victory.
Yeah, exactly. So what we saw here was a fantastic effort by people, if regular people, to pull this off. And it was great, regardless of how I feel. Like I didn't think all of this. Maybe for some of you guys, some of the elements work better than others. I wasn't the biggest admirer of seeing Tyler playing Captain Presley all the time with everything. Is a pretty Elvis reference. That personally didn't work for me all the time. But well, fair dues that they did that anyway. Like I appreciate the effort of trying all of these things. And giving us the variations because it is multiverses. I get it. I genuinely get it. So yeah, well done. What a superb effort. Regardless of how I feel about some of the things that didn't work for me, that doesn't mean anything. What supersedes that is just pulling this up in the first place. It's fantastic.
The amount of effort and coordination that goes into just one fan film production that is mind-boggling, to just from the perspective of one person, just for the person organizing it to a normal fan film production is overwhelming. To do it to this degree and bring in this many folks from this many different kind of studios or production teams, it's an amazing undertaking, and that easily could have flopped, but instead it surpassed our expectations, and just so much hard work clearly went into this, and I'm just floored, and I barely have words for it. What stood out to me is, while it was very much a crossover, it didn't lose its identity as an Avalon production. In a crossover, it's so easy to lose the thing that is the core that you're crossing over from in productions, and for it to kind of meld into some amalgamation of different properties. But this at the core felt like an Avalon production through and through from start to finish. What would you have to say about that, Cheeto?
Well, how about this? Let's give our marks really quick, because we do have our special guest backstage, so we can bring him in and torture him.
Marks, then bring them in. Yes.
So I'm giving it a 10, an absolute freaking, if I like a 10 plus. As I said, the one thing I said earlier, the one thing I love about the Avalon universe is the care that goes into the production. It feels Trek. It looks Trek. You take it, you have I'm not ragging on Star Trek Discovery, but you take something like Star Trek Discovery, and it in the very beginning of the show, it did not feel Trek, and it wasn't just sets. It was just the feel and the heart behind it. But with this and the Avalon universe, it feels Trek. It's not just the sets, it's the production value. It's the little bits of character moments. And you know what? There were not huge amount of pew-pews in here. And guess what? I didn't care. And you guys know I like my pew-pews. Mm-hmm. So, so I'm giving it like a 10 plus out of 10 for reals.
All right, Zanta, your marks, sir.
I just want to say that despite my discrepancies, which I've already mentioned earlier, I also have to give this a 10. Nothing less than a 10 because there is so much effort in this in various ways. Like, I don't think people can truly appreciate what Josh and the gang, and there's so many names that I don't know them all, let alone run through them, but we have to commend the effort, and the effort is a level that we've never seen before. This is for me Avengers Endgame levels. Like
Yes.
it really is.
Oh
It
yeah.
really is. Like I was getting goosebumps, man. I'm getting fucking goosebumps. Like how is this happening? So 10, yeah, without doubt.
I'm gonna, yeah. As 10 is the highest we can go. That we're not Spinal Tap here at NerdTube that I'm aware of. We don't turn it to 11. If I could turn it to 11, I would. Oh my god, this was just, the music blended in such a great way. You couldn't tell when the TOS score ended and Adam's music began. It was just, it flowed. The amount of heart, the amount of just attention to detail, and the devil is in the details. Just to make sure everything's on point before you hit that record button, and if it's not, you reshoot. And I don't even want to know how many takes they had to do, because just everything was spot on. Definitely 10 out of 10.
Well, there is a way we can find out
We can
how many
ask
takes
them
they took.
himself.
We can ask the man himself, Josh Irwin, director of this film. My God, man, what a masterpiece you have made.
Oh gosh, thank you so much. That means a lot. It really
As long as
does.
the check clears, that's okay, right?
The check has cleared to every place it needed to go.
Unfortunately, we couldn't get enough clearance to get Samuel Cockins in here. We didn't have enough money, but that's how it is, So thank
That's
you
your
very much,
one,
Josh.
Santa.
That's your one.
That's the one.
And that is the only one, I'm afraid. Okay.
It's the hardest Sam's ever worked on one of our films, that's for sure. He put everything that he could put into it because he was really excited about this one. The thing about this film is we started talking about it 5 years ago. On the day that we shot the very first shooting day for Avalon Universe, when we started talking about this film, and I pitched it to Sam like while we were had just finished Ghost Ship, and so the truth is that there were only supposed to be 4 Avalon Universe films ever, and this one was going to be number 3. And things just didn't work out the way we thought they would, and now they're like 15, I think, of them. So but I for a long time I didn't know if this film was ever going to get made. You talk about all the things that you guys are kind of talking about, like how many takes or whatever. That's like the iceberg, and you've got the ocean, and you see the iceberg on top, but you don't see what's underneath. It was a fight for years. It was a struggle for years just to get to the first day of shooting. And so for it to actually be done and exist, it's surreal to me. It's gone from this thing that I lamented about, am I ever going to be able to make this film, to I'm sick of looking at it. And that's great.
The only person, sorry if you don't mind me intervening, the only person who wasn't in this was yourself, which was a bit of a shame. You're such a beautiful man, my friend. You're so lovely.
Well, so are you.
Great... Oh, thank you very much. And you're such great screen presence. Why is such a hunk of meat like yourself not on our screen for this presentation?
Well, I mean, I had too much to do. Story-wise, it really didn't work out for my character to be there. But I had so much to do behind the camera, and Avalon Universe is not about me; it's about itself. It's about that story. And yeah, you get a lot of fan film producers that will make themselves the lead actor. I'm not one of those people. I'm a filmmaker. I'm more interested in telling the story. And so what was important to me was the art that was being created. It really never was about me. So I wanted to find the right actors to play the right characters, and I feel like it turned out really well.
Would 100% agree. So no, an absolute tour de force, Josh, and thank you for putting that out in the world. So the first question I have for you is infinite Excaliburs. That brings us to kind of, it's the Avalon universe. I've been wondering this for a little bit. What about the Arthurian legend kind of speaks to you, and how do you feel that the segue of that into Trek?
So it's, who doesn't love King Arthur? Who doesn't love Knights of the Round Table, nobility? That whole story's got all kinds of wonderful mysticism to it. Honestly, really, it was just kind of came with the Excalibur, with picking the Excalibur as the hero ship of the whole thing. And that literally was just, going back 5.5 years to being on the phone with Vance, and Vance is saying, hey, you need to do a Star Trek fan film. And I'm like, well, I could go to Warp 66 Studios, or back then it was Starbase Studios, shoot there. And he's like, well, the building doesn't have any electricity. And, if you're going to shoot there, you got to have like a motivation, like, oh, the ship's without power or something. And then it just kind of came to me, oh, the USS Excalibur, it was wrecked in the M5 computer battle. We've got an away team sent to retrieve it, and they have to fight the zombies of the dead crew. That was it. It was literally that quick that the whole thing came to me, 10 seconds. And then the whole genesis of it being its own universe and the alternate universes thing was that, again, going back to the beginning and going back to Vance. When Vance was posting all of his screenshots from his fan films and fan film forums saying, come watch my fan film, he would have ones where it's like Kelvin Menard meets Prime Menard, or Mirror Menard meets Kelvin Menard, or whatever. And I was making this joke, which is applicable to both the Flash and Rick and Morty. Oh, is he gonna have the transdimensional Council of Menard? And Vance is laughing at that. And I just thought, okay, that's a basis. Maybe it's an alternate universe. Maybe the whole thing is not even in the Star Trek Prime universe, and we could do all kinds of different things, and it could be like parallels and
freedom there.
Huge freedom. So that gave the core idea of the Avalon universe itself, and then along with that came the idea of doing a parallels type episode. Like, okay, well, we can do the transdimensional Council of Menard, which we did. And if you watch The Flash, for example, they had a lot of episodes that had these titles like the Council of Wells episode was like When Harry Met Harry.
Yeah.
And then Harry and the Harrisons, and The Flash and the Furious, and they had all these titles that were kind of creative plays on words with other episodes. Rick and Morty does that, the Rick Shank Redemption and all that kind of stuff. And I wanted a title like that for this. I was like, it's got to have a title like that. And I was just like, man, what could I call this? It's got to be something like that. And then it just hit me. It was like Crisis on Infinite Excalibers.
It's so funny you said hits you, because I was about to say it's such a punchy title.
Yeah.
It comes at you and it just gets that attention, and it makes you want to watch it. And hopefully people will do themselves a favor and will continue to find this, because it's just tour de force.
Well, thank you.
So Zanta Claus, what would you like to ask Mr. Irwin about this particular film?
How long did the production take? And if you don't mind me getting a bit personal, like what does it cost to do a production like this? And do you require people to film their parts and then get it together, like the vision? Sorry, I'm asking you so many questions here, but this is my third part of this question. Like the vision of this, like, do you know how to make something like this where you need people from different parts of the planet to come together with their shots, their screenshots, and stuff like that. Like, how do you merge something like this? It's unfathomable to me.
Well, with regards to like the shots that were taken in the UK, for example, Sam coordinated that. So, he of course shot himself and his father, and then he worked with Nick Cook to tell Nick Cook what he needed to do. And Nick shot that at his me. I did a rough cut, sent that rough cut to Sam. Sam did the final version of the Stargate scenes and then sent them to me, and I dropped them in. Frank Parker Jr., I sent him a script. He shot it on a green screen, sent it back to me. It was really just kind of getting a hold of people saying, hey, would you be willing to do this? Same with George Cahan, getting a hold of him and just saying, hey, George, this is what I need. And he shot it on his own set and sent it to me, and we put it in. As far as how long did it take, that's a few layers to that question. The simple answer is it took a little over a year. It took about 14 months.
Wow.
So we started filming it in October of last year. And when it started out, it was like, 60 degrees and nice. The studios, they're not air conditioned. So it was 60 degrees and nice when we started filming. Then we got into December and we were doing a shooting day, and it was like 25 degrees in the transporter room, and everybody's like shivering. And then when we finished it in March in Kingsland, we're in Georgia, almost Florida, and it was hot again. And I'm like in the bathroom throwing up from heat exhaustion. So it took about a year to shoot, it took about 6 months to shoot, took about 10 months to edit. But I had been wanting to make this movie for so much longer. So I had to go through some serious dark times to get to day one of filming. I can tell you that. I had to reboot the Avalon Universe twice. Yeah.
Yeah. But sorry, I just want to add that you were also filming other stuff whilst filming this at the same time, yes?
Yeah. So
double duty.
Yeah, so we weren't just filming this. We were doing 3 films. We were doing Knights of the Void, which we released earlier this year. We were filming this, and we were filming the Once and Future Captain, which we're going to release next year. And normally how it would work is on a Saturday, we'd have a filming weekend, and on Saturday we would concentrate on Crisis, and then on Sunday we would shoot Once and Future Captain. And then, if the location was something that fit in Knights of the Void, we would fit that in as well. So we were shooting 3 films at the same time.
So one more thing, how were you able to get off the doppelganger shots, which were quite remarkable in my opinion? Like I've never seen anything like that in fan films the way you did it. It was amazing. They were right next to each other. It was incredible.
It was I gotta confess here a little bit. I didn't know if that was gonna work. I didn't. I was just guessing. I was spitballing at it. And we had to, a couple of them we had to redo. But there were about 2 different ways that we did it. One is like, say I could do it on a green screen. So like, there are some instances where it's just a green screen, and I would have the actor on the green screen, and we'd say, okay, this is the line that you got to say, and this is what you're reacting to, and say, give me 10 seconds in front of it and give me 10 seconds after the line. And then on the 10 seconds after the line, react to the line after it. Right. And so we would do that for every line. And we only did 2 or 3 takes of everything. And
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then the actor would go change clothes, change makeup. And this was most often Alex. She was the one who did the most doppelganger work. And Alex wanted all of the characters to look different. So she would have a different makeup and hairstyle for each character. And again, it was 20 degrees in the studio, 30 degrees. She would go over and over again, redoing her makeup and hair, come back, do the same thing, line before, say your line after. And we just kind of developed this technique of giving space before and after for nonverbal reactions and just recording that one line. And the trick was to coordinate the makeup and hair changes. Like, okay, in what order are we going to record these characters? Now, the other version of it is you'd shoot them on the set, and you'd use a combination of the AI rotobrush or masking, where you just split screen or something. And so you would have to coordinate that based on, okay, we're going to start with Prime Universe, and we're going to have Prime Universe's close-ups. Then we're going to go to this wide shot, and we're going to shoot Prime Universe first. Then you're going to switch to Avalon Universe, and we're going to shoot her in the middle. Then you're going to switch to Mirror Universe, and we're going to shoot her last and then do her close-ups. And so it was like it was figuring out an order to the makeup changes, so she wasn't continuously, I mean, she was still having to do it a lot, but it was trying to be like, don't do it willy-nilly random. Let's do it in an order that makes sense. And so that was really the trick to it. And we did some stuff like, for example, in the Mirror Universe scene, they'd be talking, she'd be talking to herself, and I had one of the other actors do an over the shoulder. So we're shooting over the shoulder of another actor and seeing Alex, but then we would shoot a plate of the back of Alex's head on a green screen, take the other actor out, and put Alex in. So it was actually the back of her head when she's talking to herself. So it was just, a lot of stuff like that. It was a combination of green screen, rotobrush, masking, timing, lighting, all that. It wasn't easy. And again, I didn't know if it was going to work, and it, thank God it did.
It more than just worked, friend. Yes, sir, Mr. Cheeto. What would you like to ask?
Oh, you kind of segued right into one thing I wanted to bring up. Alex. Oh my God. In the last film, I feel like she did good, but like in this one, I felt like she really knocked it out of the park and really stretched her wings. I mean, I literally felt like in the scenes where she was talking to herself, in most scenes between the different, variations of her character, I really felt like she was actually talking to like that you don't get that in a fan film.
Yeah.
Like you don't get that shit. And that's what's so amazing about this is like a lot of this hinged on Alex, it seemed like. And by the way, we better see Mira Michaela again. Are we?
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm voting. I'm putting her in the voting for best villain of 2023. And it's we're gonna have another mirror variant as a villain.
So I went into casting Alex with Crisis in mind. So it was, Needs of the One may have been the first film we did, but when she auditioned, she was auditioning with sides from Crisis. So that turbo lift scene where she talks to herself in the turbo lift, that was her audition. And I just picked the person with the strongest audition. And, Alex had done her homework. She had gone and watched Avalon Universe. She had read the entire script. She knew what she was auditioning for, and she wanted the part, and she really put a lot of effort into it. And what I liked about, I think what we ended up doing was Needs of the One, even though it was released, last year, Needs of the One and Crisis were only shot like about 3 months apart. So I considered Needs of the One to be basically a warm up for everyone. I use that as a, let's all get in there. Let's get used to working together. Let's get used to playing these characters. This was like a practice, Needs of the One was basically a practice film in many respects. And so we did this practice film, and then we went and shot, the big time film. And I think that helped Alex. And I think it helped a lot of the other actors too, because they kind of got into their groove and it worked out.
Now, your film was full of Easter eggs, for sure. Yeah. Now, Tyler, he was dressed up as Marty McFly from Back to the Future 3 in that cowboy outfit, correct?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, when he went back in time to the Wild West. And yeah. So
It's one of the cosplays that he has. That he'll go to conventions and he'll cosplay. You know, he's got Back to the Future 1, Back to the Future 2, Back to the Future 3, and if you go to the Rick and Morty episode in season 1, where they have the Council of Ricks, you know, Rick and Morty show up at the Council of Ricks, and Morty sees a cowboy version of them walk by, and he's like, "Hey, what do you know? It's a cowboy version of me." And Rick says, "Wow, you're easily impressed," you know, and so that was an homage to that, to put that line in there. So he just, instead of dressing up as a random cowboy, he just dressed up as, you know, Clint Eastwood, you know, Marty from Back to the Future 3.
Josh,
And
that's pretty good.
Also,
that's pretty good, Rick. Josh,
I wish I could burp on command.
Also, the same thing you did. The same thing you did with the Council of Menage, because I was getting the Council of Reed Richards vibes from that as well. You know, from the comic books.
Yeah,
that was really good too.
It's just a thing, and if you notice, we were kind of doing a little bit of, you know, there was council, and like when all the Allenbys were together in the script and in the call sheets, that scene was referred to as the Council of Allenby. So like there was Council of Menard, Council of Allenby, and I think there was gonna be a Council of Archer, and it just didn't work out. But you know, we got what we got. But we still saw multiple versions of Archer too, which I was glad to see that. And Victoria Archer actually did the scar herself, the makeup scar, so that was neat.
Well, please make sure that you kill off Menard's girlfriend before we continue with the next movie, because that's a tradition that always happens.
Not this one.
No, we're not going to kill anybody. So that's, you know, the need for that is finally past.
Oh, fair enough.
You know, it was, you know, killing characters was kind of a, you know, running an actor off was really what that was. And, you know, I wasn't the driving force behind that. So it is what it is.
Wait, are we talking about Menard's girlfriends?
Yeah.
You know, look, the thing about the request from Vance for the Avalon version of his character was that he wanted the character to have a happy ending. And so, you know, he just came to me and he said, "Can you give my character a happy ending in this film?" And so we did. And it's like, yeah, no sweat, man. And I thought it contrasted well with, okay, you see this happy ending for Menard. He beams away with his family and his wife and kid, and then you immediately cut to the Phantom, to the mirror version of the character betraying everyone.
I love him.
You know, so it was. I thought it complemented each other well.
Beautiful juxtaposition, great, and just that level of subtlety and just kind of things you would expect from a piece of literature. You know, just. You get that sort of level of sophistication out of your films.
Well, thank you.
We
try. You know? So my question for Cheeto: what did you think of your homage there at the end?
Oh, the Stardates of Our Lives.
Yeah.
Was that me?
That was for NerdTube.
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. I know we joked around about that a lot, but I think we talked about it before, but yeah, no, I loved it. I thought it was great.
You know, the thing is that we'll be on set filming, and we're always quoting that review. Like it's, you know, "Who the fuck is Mason? Get back on the bridge." You know, like it happens every time.
That Zam, he's very outspoken. You know that Zam. You have to. Yeah, I put him in the basement until the 24th of December, so you won't be seeing him too soon, unfortunately.
Well, I'm glad you could make it, Zanta Claus.
Oh, thank you.
Zanta's my new best friend. Like, I'm gonna be sad when Christmas hits. I'm gonna miss Santa
We're
Claus.
all always sad when Zanta leaves us. He's only with us for like 3.5 weeks every year, but he's
unfortunately. I have to go around the world and empty my big fat sack on all the lovely people, you know, and spread my love, you know. So that's how it goes, I'm afraid.
He didn't mean that the way it sounded.
Oh, he did.
Oh, absolutely.
He
That's who
absolutely
Zanta
did.
is. I almost popped this. I almost hit the chat up first, like earlier this morning, saying I trying to not have a coronary, wondering how I'm going to keep Zanta Claus in line.
Now, I do want to mention one thing because, I feel like it's important. There were a few elements of this film, specifically the Mirror Universe bridge scene between Allenby and Jakande. And then the concept that the Mirror Universe, they were all wearing sort of mercenary type outfits. Those creative elements came from Victoria Fox. Those were something that she thought of when she and I were developing the idea for the film. And I want to be fair and make sure that she gets credit for what she contributed to the project. Overall, she and I disagreed on the vision for what the film should be. She did not want to do a comedic film. I did. And I decided I was going to make the film I wanted to make without her involvement. But those elements at least were contributions on her part. And I think that it's fair and important to credit her for that.
That's awful big of you.
Well,
Yes, it's very kind of you.
That's executive producer role. I mean, that everybody who contribute, I should get an executive producer role credit on this one. We're starting.
Well, yeah, you deserve some kind of credit,
Put him on film one time. Now Cheeto's ego's getting big.
I'm not on film yet. It's just an idea. But hey, the balance and the pacing of this film was so good. We were chatting earlier on Facebook, and I said to you, and I said for me there's always two different kind of Avalon universes. There's the one, not literally two different ones, but like there's the ghost ship version, and then there's the demons version. All right, and we all know kind of, if you guys have seen our reviews of Ghost Ship and Demons, you kind of see where I'm coming from with this. Is that in Demons, it felt like they were lingering on scenes for too long and stuff like that. But but then in Ghost Ship, they did have that very well pace, and I feel like you guys have really nailed that Ghost Ship style like format, like where it's like you do good scenes, but it's quality over quantity. You're not lingering on scenes. And I really have seen that improvement over the past 3-4 films, really.
Well, and, you kind of referred back to what I was just talking about, is that there were two different sort of visions for where the project needed to go. And it was the difference in what you're talking about, the Demons version versus the Ghost Ship version. And I mean, that was almost literally the terminology being used at the time, is that, she said she didn't want to make another Ghost Ship. She said, I refuse to do that. And it was like, well, okay, I respect that, but I'm going to make what I'm going to make.
And that's, and I'm not trying to disrespect anybody here, but I'm going to speak broadly about creative liberties versus creative influence. I don't know if that's like, I understand people wanting to have creative control like over their character, but it goes back to one of the things that I don't like about Mark Hamill. I love Mark Hamill, but one of the is that when he started coming out and saying, about Luke Skywalker, oh, well, he wouldn't do this. He shouldn't do this. He did. And in my opinion, I get it. Rian Johnson made the movie he wanted to make, and Mark Hamill was not happy about it, but and Mark Hamill went about it kicking and screaming, and you can't do that. Like there is a clear-cut there's a clear-cut vision, and the person who is in charge of that vision is the person who has, created it and put their blood, sweat, tears, and money into it.
Tens of thousands of dollars of money.
Exactly.
I was going to bring that up. Great personal expense to yourself. Put into this film.
And like if it let's say it was me, I mean, even if I disagreed with you on a direction, I would talk with you maybe and be like, hey, what do you think about this? And you said, no, I really wanted to do this. Then I'd be like, okay, but and I'm sure, and I know you've come across that in the past, not just with the person you referenced earlier. You've come across that with other people, and it's just it's astounding that you can deal with that, as well as some of the balancing those creative liberties versus influences.
So Okay, let's shift gears on that same note to Sam, for example. Sam came to me and he said, I've got this great idea for this Stargate scene. And he and I talked about it for 10 minutes, and he threw a pitch out there. And I went, you know what, Sam? I think that sounds like a great idea. And then I gave him my thoughts. Then he wrote a script and he went out and did it. But he approached me as just like, hey, I've got an idea. What do you think? And I'm usually pretty accommodating when somebody does that. If I think it's a good idea. Now, if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to, because throughout the process of editing, even, I would send cuts of the film to Sam, to Jonathan Lane, to Vic Mignogna, to whoever to look at and say, what do you think about this? And people would give me their thoughts. And I said it, on the condition of, I'm going to listen to what you have to say, but that doesn't mean I'm going to do what you're saying here. And in many instances, I took their suggestions. Jonathan Lane, the Elvis thing that Zam kind of wasn't, his favorite thing. Jonathan Lane came to me and he said, I've got this great idea. What if we do a Way to Eden hippie universe and you have Tyler as Elvis Presley? And I was going, maybe, I don't know, that seems like that's a little too much. And he played a card with me, and I'm not going to say what it was, but he played a card with me that he knew was going to work. And I was like, damn you, Jonathan, like, okay, let's look at this. And then I got to looking at, things like the Council of Ricks or the Council of Wells and the Flash. And yeah, they went a little, they went a little off the rails with it. So I was like, okay, well, maybe we can get away with this. And I think that when you have something where you have some people going, this is great, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen, whatever. And then you maybe get some people that are saying, I didn't really like that. I actually think that that's a bold creative choice. If people are disagreeing over something you do, you go back to Ghost Ship. It's the same with the Arnold Schwarzenegger quotes where they're quoting Arnold and they're killing zombies. Like, people either don't like that or they love it. And I think when you create something like that where people are like, kind of back and forth on it, I think that's a bold creative choice. I like that sort of thing. So, it doesn't bug me if, Santa Claus, doesn't like it. He has a right to not like it. But
I'll tell you this though. Like, if I would rather he talk like Elvis more than constantly singing all the time.
Yeah, that was Jonathan too. Jonathan wrote the lines to be sung. So we kind of just went with it. But then, our friend Brandy, who is in the film, she's laughing at it, saying this is the best part of the movie. So it's, it's all, taste. And, but again, yeah, I think there's a difference between saying, hey, what if we did this? Or what would you think of that? Or, I'd like to try X, Y, or Z, and going, I refuse to do this, or we're going to do it that way, and I don't care what you think. And the thing about this film, the journey to make it is what the film itself became about. So there's this old story with Gene Roddenberry and Michael Piller, where Michael Piller was writing a Next Generation episode, and he comes to Gene Roddenberry and he says, hey, Gene, we're going to make this episode, and this is what we're going to do. And Roddenberry's like, well, what's it about? And he's like, well, it's about this gimmick, Gene, we're going to do this thing. And Gene was like, but that's just a gimmick. What's it about? You know what I mean? And it really kind of hit Michael Piller like, what is it about? And he had to go back and revamp his concept for the whole episode. It made him think. And for me, what this film is about is just be you. All of the different, no one has the right to tell you who you have to be in order to be good enough. And that's when you see the dichotomy with you got Mirror, Avalon, and Prime. I wanted that to be like, Prime, or that Avalon is the main character, and, Mirror and Prime are like the angel and the devil on her shoulder, telling her different things. And she mirrors this conversation with the two of them, where when she talks to Mirror, the Mirror's like, I know better than you. I'm the stronger. You need to do what I tell you. I'm the one who's running the show around here, and you need to get in line with this. Prime was telling her, this is your life. Live it the way you choose to. This is an opportunity, and no one can be you but you. And even though you may not be me, you may not be the captain like I am, what you are is also important. So don't let anyone tell you you should be someone different than who you are. Just be you. And for me, that's what this film, no one has the right to tell you what your artistic expression is. Make your art. There's no purity test that you have to take to be good enough to make art. It's not just good enough if you do it the way someone else thinks you should. Make your art and let it speak for itself.
I have to say that's very well said, because without doubt, your identity was absolutely imprinted on this. So to make that statement, fair play, because what you said is definitely true. This is 100% you, even though you weren't even in it. Ironically,
Yeah.
but still, I could see you in it at the same time.
Well, there's so
Great
much.
stuff.
There's so much of the way that any artist impacts art. You look at a Stanley Kubrick film and you see those perspective shots. You look at something that was filmed by Roger Deakins and you see the soft cove light, or they're just signature things that people do that they put on what they make. And so I appreciate and I'm grateful that you noticed.
Comment here. We want to read that out.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Josh Irwin, stay tuned to Task Force 78. All three of these NerdTube guys are expected to be featured in our films.
Nice. I know that Zam was in Constar. So that's great. Congratulations, guys. I can't wait to see it.
I'm still waiting.
It's just us sitting around a table making fun of, of fan films in Task Force 78.
We're just three losers there too.
Yeah.
No, you guys are not losers.
Actually, I do have a question. Was there anything that you could not do in this film that you really wanted to do, or at least was a part of your original vision? Whether it be financial not problems, but financial things, or just not being able to get the right people at the right time, or
well, to a degree, yes. In the sense that very few of those actors were on set together at any given time. Like, for example, there's a scene at the very beginning where Vance is doing a scene with, Menard is with Aoka in engineering. Those two actors were filmed a year apart. They were in different towns. And I filmed both of it, but they were, we filmed Vance in one studio. We filmed Jennifer Rader in another. Vance was reading with Tyler as his scene partner, and Jennifer Rader was reading with Alex as her scene partner. And we just created that in editing. Vance and Jennifer were never on set together. And the reason being is that we had to logistically schedule the shoot in a manner where it's like, okay, this week is the Warren Hawk week. So Warren would show up and we would concentrate on Warren scenes, or this is the week that Vance is going to be there, or this is the weekend that we're going to Neutral Zone Studios or whatever. And so it was like who we had that week, whoever the, person coming in from out of town was, that's how we determined what we were filming. Well, a lot of times those people couldn't be together. So like you would have a weekend where you weren't going to have Jennifer Rader, but you were going to have Vance. So it's like, well, we'll just shoot Vance's. We'll keep the framing. We'll know what the framing is and kind of write down how we were set up. And then we'll replicate that with Jennifer. And so like there was a ton of that. I wish those actors could have been together. I wish that we could have done a little less of that. I would have, if I could have, I would have liked to have moved the camera around a little more. And if actors had been together, you could have done that. It would have been neat to do some motion control stuff with like a motorized slider and move around and do some camera moves with multiple characters in the shot, where you got multiple versions of the same character in the shot, but the camera's moving and they're moving and it's dynamic. I would like to have done that more, but that was just wasn't something we were able to do because we didn't have access. We didn't have the budget for that. So it's like, if I could have done that, I would have gotten some parallax going and moved the camera around. But like that turbo lift scene, if I could have done that differently, it might have been they're walking down the corridor and they start talking in the corridor and we move the camera with them and then they get in the turbo lift. That wasn't possible because the turbo lift and the corridor are 40 miles apart, in different buildings. And so that was not really something I could make work. And, when you're in the corridor and you're moving around with characters, like you're adding about 3 more layers of complexity. I'm not saying we couldn't have done it, but it was just in the time that we had and the money we had, we couldn't do it. So yeah, it's really a lot of pick your battles. I think one other thing that I would have done if I could was I would have had some costumes specifically tailored, like I would have had something made for Alex for the Prime Universe, that sort of thing. But again, it was like, I got a quote on that. It was like $400.
Phew.
And you can't, you got to make some choices. So it's like $400 for a costume or $400 for Alex's plane ticket to Kingsland. And you gotta choose, you know what I mean? So, and of course you can't spend $400 on every character's costume. I mean, this whole film was made for something like $12,000. So it's like,
bloody hell.
Yeah, you wouldn't be, if you were doing that kind of stuff, you'd be spending more. And it's just like you had to pick your battles. And look, when I was making this, I was broke, man. I had no money. I was still putting, like I financed like half of it myself. And half of it was crowdfunding. We fundraised I think we crowdfunded a total of $12,000, but we spent that on all 3 films. And so it was like, for this, it was like $6,000 from crowdfunding and $6,000 of mine. And I was unemployed for part of 2022 because of COVID stuff. And I finally ended up, starting over and like restarting my career. And now I've built myself back up to where I'm doing pretty good. But when we were making this movie, I didn't have a dime, man. I was barely, putting enough gas in my car to go to work. So it was like, this was really struggling for the art. And I'm not saying that to gain like sympathy points or anything, but I'm just saying that's what it was like. And I was just so determined to make this film that I was willing to do that. I mean, now you can go back. I'm hardly the first person to do that. Like you look at when the original Terminator was made, that's how James Cameron was living. So it's
oh, yeah. That's true. I know about that.
Filmmaking,
Passion like that shows through in the finished product, though, and that passion that all the sacrifice that you put into this film absolutely shows.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Coming from Vance, before I have a question for you. I know what you did to get this film made, and I tip my hat to you, brother. Yeah. Know something, Mean Gene. Yeah, I agree. My question to you is that, do you feel you have it in you to do something like this again?
Maybe not for a while. This one was a saga, you know what I mean? And it was really, how bad do you want it? And just to get, like I said, just to get to day one of shooting was like 2-3 years of struggle just to get to day one. And so it's like, thankfully it's not so hard anymore. I know that once we finish this Avalon Universe core arc, we're gonna step away from Avalon Universe for a while and figure out what we want to do with it next. And in that time, I'm going to work on some other people's films. This coming year is setting up for me to be like the year of war and peace, and so it's like, Cheeto was talking about like there were no pew-pews in this, and it's like, there's going to be no shortage of it coming up. I'm kind of glad that this one wasn't about space battles, because I have about 3 films coming up that are just space battles.
Yes.
Where it's like it's the fate of the universe, space battle, war. We must struggle for peace. Like they're very close stories. Where there's one, the very next one that's going to come out is a Tales from the Neutral Zone that is about, we're going to, you know, we met the Prime Universe version of our Avalon characters in this film. You know, we saw that Mason is a woman. We saw that Allenby is captain of the Excalibur. Well, we're going to follow the Prime Universe characters into the Prime Universe in Tales from the Neutral Zone. And we're going to have an episode that's all about the Prime Universe characters, and they're going to respond to a distress call from a Romulan outpost, and it's going to get intense. So the next one is a very big War and Peace type episode, and then we're going to do a Tales from the Neutral Zone this coming year and the next year that is a prequel to Yesterday's Enterprise. And I've got another one that's Axanar related that is a big War and Peace deal. So it's going to be the year of War and Peace in 2024. And then, of course, the big Avalon film for 2024 is the Once and Future Captain, which is also a big like fleet battle where the Federation's fighting the Romulans and the Klingons, and there's this invasion, and it's the ultimate struggle to save the aliens from the cosmic stream, and it's gonna be huge. So
nice.
But we've filmed all of it, so it's just a matter of taking a year to edit. And with the Once and Future Captain, that's another one that it's like, we want to just get this one right. We want to make the best film we can. So it may be a year from now that we release it. And just take as long for the editing process as we need. If we need to go back and shoot pickups, do that. But that's going to be the last film of this Avalon Universe core story that we're telling right now. And then it's, who knows from there.
Absolutely cannot wait to see what you do next. Look forward to next year.
Well, thank you.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to aspiring fan filmmakers, Josh, if you wanted to get started in this scene and you wanted to do the best job you could on the absolute least amount of money? What do you prioritize? Is it a good story?
You got to get Vance Major in your fan film first. I mean, that's first and foremost.
I think that with regard to making a good fan film, it's the same as making a good film. And I'll tell you a story. Going back to when I was 17 years old, I was at a Star Trek convention in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Bruce Campbell was there, and I'm sure we all know who Bruce Campbell is.
Ash, baby, Ash.
And yeah, and I was with Tyler's brother, Chris, and Chris, he had a real kind of insight on these conventions, and so we were staying in the same hotel as Bruce Campbell, and Bruce Campbell just left his hotel room door wide open one day. And I just walked into his hotel room. I just literally walked in and said, "Hey, Bruce, you mind if we talk for a few minutes?" And he was like, "Well, now that you've invaded my privacy, come on in," you know, and we sat down and started talking. And he's like, "Well, you know, you had the courage to come in here. I respect that. You know, what do you want to know?" And I said, "Bruce, I want to be a filmmaker and I want to know what advice you have for me." And he said, "Just make films." He said, "Don't go to film school. Don't just pick up a camera, go somewhere with your friends, make a film, and just screw it up. Just screw it up, because that's the thing that's going to teach you the most. And when you screw up, look at it, recognize it, and improve, and just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it until you become a great filmmaker." He said, "That's what we did. You know, that's what we did when we made The Evil Dead. We just went out and made a movie." And he said, "That's going to teach you more than anything." And I can tell you, having not listened to his advice and gone to film school, he's absolutely right. The experience of making a film teaches you more than anything. And let me tell you, he didn't know it at the time, but when he said, you go out, you make a movie with your friends, you make something, maybe it's not that great, but you keep doing it and you keep doing it and keep doing it. One day you become a great filmmaker. He didn't know it, but Bruce Campbell was describing Vance.
Interesting.
I
The
think Mr.
Stan
Campbell
Lee of fan films.
Yeah.
No, failure is a far superior teacher to success.
Mhm.
Success doesn't make you face shortcomings or have to try to improve, and failure definitely does. So it sounds like you've got some good advice.
You know, and again, I relate a lot of things in my life to martial arts. And you learn the most from martial arts. You get your butt kicked, and you have to take the ego and just kind of let it go, and okay, I made this mistake on this film. Here's how I can do better next time. And you guys look at this film and you go, oh, this is great. I look at this film and I go, I can see every little thing I did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, well, can't do anything about that this time, but here's what I'm going to do next time to try and do that better. And so you have to use the filmmaking experience as a guide. You can't look at I appreciate that people say nice things about the films, but the fact of the matter is the filmmaker, you can't look at it that way. You have to look at it as a science experiment in some respects and go, okay, how could I improve upon this? Where did I come up short? What could I have done better? And I got plenty of things that I can look at any film that I've done and go, yeah, I could have done this better. And that's a good thing to carry with you in life, is just to look at yourself and go, I could have done this instead. Now, that doesn't mean beat yourself up over it. It just means learn. It just means take it with you next time.
To wake up and try to best yourself.
Yeah, and look, getting back to martial arts, you get on the mat with somebody, that person's not your opponent. Your teacher is not your opponent. You're your opponent. You're not trying to beat that other guy. Sometimes you're just trying to be better than you were yesterday. And no matter how incremental that is. And I think that extends to a lot of things. And sometimes as a filmmaker, you're just trying to be better than you were yesterday.
Well, that attitude definitely shows the just constant level up. Somehow, every Avalon feature I see just levels up a little bit. So I'm afraid we're losing Zanta Claus. It's very late for him. It's very late at the North Pole, indeed.
I do apologize. It's 2:45 in the morning here, but I'm doing my best.
You're doing
your best. It's fine. Guys, I appreciate you having me on. I was hoping Tyler would make it.
I have not heard back from Tyler. So, I mean, I know that he had a really busy day, and he said trying to call in from the U-Haul, and I'm like,
yeah, he's on the road. So, just didn't work out. But what I will mention is,
he co-directed this one, correct?
Yeah. Tyler, even though he was in it very little, he had a lot to do with it. He was there behind the scenes every single shoot we did. And so what Tyler would do is I concentrated on big picture. And so I would say to Tyler, take the actors, go over here and go over this scene. And then I would go kind of supervise the setup, or if it was just me that day, I would do the setup. And then I would go to Tyler, okay, and they would play the scene for me. And I would say, okay, this is my thoughts. Tyler would work with them on that. Come in. He'd give his thoughts. I'd give my thoughts. Then we would shoot the scene or whatever, the VFX shot. I couldn't have done it without him. And he contributed a lot. Like, there are little things that were him, like, Warren's. That was Tyler telling him to do that. Tyler was directing him to do that business. There's just little things like that. And, the thing that's great about Tyler is that, God, he religiously kind of viewed this as my vision, and he was just trying to support what I wanted to do. And, God, it just shows what a loyal friend he is to do that kind of thing, to not try and be like, oh, I'm the director, like he didn't do that. He showed up and he worked so hard. He worked as hard as anyone else behind the scenes. And he had no reason to do that other than just to be a great friend to me. And he was, and he did it. And he deserves all the credit in the world for his attitude and for his effort. And his mark is on this film as much as anybody else's is. And he did a great job. He really did.
Well, he's missed tonight. Tyler's a great friend of
For
the
sure.
channel, but every time you two are together, and it's even on film, the bond really shows, and I feel like that bond makes your product better for it.
Well, thank you. And
So-
I want to call out a few people. Greg Mitchell drove all the way across the state of Arkansas to come help us behind the camera. I had a friend, Dwight Pfeffer, who would drive all the way out to Flippin to help us with food. We had a great group of people at Neutral Zone Studios that all just like, man, those volunteers were busting their butts, man. There's a lady named Terry Stanford who was like vacuuming the floor, stuff like that. Ruth McCartney, people like that were bringing in food for us, cooking food. Ashley Armstrong, just so many people were working on this. It's hard to mention them all. My friend Neil Bilby, we're at his house right now. I've known him since 7th grade, and he came and he worked as director of photography. And again, in much the same way that Tyler did, he just like knew what my vision was, and he supported that. And he didn't have to put all that effort into it, but he did. And so like, that's kind of the story of this whole thing. Jonathan Lane wasn't really officially attached to the production, but he was doing so much work that I was just like, dude, you're doing the work of a producer. And so I was like, why don't you just get credited for that? And so I gave him a producer credit because he was, you go to that scene where you're seeing all the different scenes from other fan films as other universes. You got to credit him for that because he was the one that went to all of the different fan filmmakers and said, hey, we're doing this scene. Would you give your permission to have your fan film featured in this? Like, he did that legwork. If we were struggling with something and the funds were getting low, he would just be like, hey, my friend over here will give you $500. And he would just come up with, donors. Ray Myers, Ray Myers was one of our super donors who gave us, a lot of that money that helped us get through this. Believe me, when I was struggling. And he didn't stop there. He came to the set. He would drive and get lunch for everybody. You know what I mean? He would help with props or costumes, or he would just be like, what do you need me to do? Films, okay, there's this element of creativity. That's great. Films get made because of all of the people that show up and go, what do you need me to do?
So much legwork in any production on stage or on film. Just
no
so
shortage
much more legwork. Like what you see, like you spoke of the tip of the iceberg earlier. What's on stage or on film is just the tip of that iceberg.
Absolutely. And it's like Glenn Wolfe, for example. Dude's a one-man art department. Dan Reynolds, the badges that everybody was wearing, Dan Reynolds designed those. He 3D printed them. He painted them by hand. We ordered these Orville costumes, right? And the Orville costumes don't come with the rank insignia on the shoulders. You just get the costume. Dan Reynolds 3D printed and painted Orville rank insignia for the costumes. I mean,
that's amazing.
Yeah, there's so many people like that had to just be like, what do you need me to do for that to be a thing? And it's crazy, but you bring a vision to life. You didn't do it by yourself. You did it with 30, 40, 50 other people that gave of themselves to do that. And I wish I could spend 10 minutes talking about all of them, but I owe the world to these people because they made my dreams come true. This Asian dude shows up and wears a mini skirt for
I love that.
Hey, guy I've never met. You want to drive for 3 hours and wear a mini skirt? Man, I'll be there. And he showed up and he couldn't have been happier to put on that mini skirt. Let me tell you.
Well, speaking of people in miniskirts, we've got a couple people backstage here who just joined in. So we got Vance. And we do have Tyler. He came in here, so I'm gonna hold on.
Oh, we can
There we
barely
go.
see you, Tyler. But
So we
you're
got
there.
Tyler, we got V-Man. Also, so I mean, I don't know, Josh, if you need to go. I mean, I know you've been on here for a while for us.
Yeah,
or not,
you know,
but-
let's. I just want to say thank you to everybody for watching it. I'm really glad that you liked it. Thank you to everyone who worked on it. I can't say enough. Now that these guys are here, let's let them take it. And God knows Tyler deserves a lot of credit, and so does Vance. So,
Josh, real quick, I want to say thank you, Josh, for trusting me again to direct. I love directing, and I feel like I'm able to add something to it and make it just a little bit more solid. And I really appreciate you giving me the reins on that again.
it's trust that you earned. It's trust that you earned, Tyler, for sure. Okay, I'm going to step away and let these guys talk. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very
everyone.
much, Josh.
Yeah,
Keep up the good work, my friend. Merry Christmas.
Happy Christmas, Santa Claus.
So we are joined by the Stan Lee of fan films, V-Man, and Captain Tyler himself, or this Captain Mason, Tyler Donovan. How are you gentlemen doing this evening? Thank you for being here.
Well,
so I'll throw it down to you, Tyler. So what was it like being on the other side of the camera on an Avalon production?
So this is the first time. I have directed films for Josh in the past. We were doing a proof of concept film 10 years ago for like a faith-based cop football action movie that he was wanting to make, and I think he still has plans to do that. But anyway, we were making a proof of concept film for this project, and he had a guy that I knew that I'd been to this guy's acting class. This guy teaches an acting, or used to teach an acting class, and I would go to his class every now and then. And he had this guy on set as like the quote acting coach or whatever, and there was a scene between two other actors, two other characters, and he was giving them this real vague, their interaction was awkward and it wasn't what it was supposed to be. And I was just an actor on this set, and I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, and this guy gives them some really vague motivation or something, and I'm like, no, that's not what you say to them. I'm like, I know what to say to these guys to get them to do what Josh is wanting them to do. I know what to say to them, but it wasn't my place. And then, and still, the scene ended up being awkward, and it just didn't have that feeling to it. So I was talking to Josh later. I'm like, what you had this guy doing, I was like, I can do that. I can tell actors what to do to get the performance out of them that you want, if you'll let me. And he was like, yeah. And our sound guy at the time was in the car with us, and he was like, I think that's a good idea. You should let Tyler kind of co-direct. And so the next two films we did, Your Local News and Rain, I co-directed, and and I really enjoyed it. But yes, this is, and then that kind of went away because when we started doing Avalon, another person, we don't say names, but another person convinced him that I wasn't qualified to direct, and that they were. And so my directing privileges kind of went away for years. And we were on the set a few years ago, 2.5 years ago, we were on the set in Oklahoma of Agent of New Worlds. And I was just along for the ride. I wasn't involved in it at all, except for the post-credit scenes, which we did at a later shoot. But so we're in Oklahoma, and we're doing Agent of New Worlds, and we're like half a mile from base camp, and we're out in the desert, and Josh had to run back to camp to get a piece of equipment or something, and they were the two actresses were running lines, and he was like, and Josh goes, I got to run back and get such and such, and he looks at me and he goes, Tyler, run rehearsal with them and give notes. And then he just takes off, and I was like, oh, really? He's asking me to direct again? This is cool, And it wasn't official or anything. It was just a little bitty taste, But then on our subsequent films, I don't think I directed. I don't think I did anything on. I didn't direct the next. What was it? Needs of the One, but he started asking me. Once we started shooting Knights of the Void and Crisis and the next one, Once and Future Captain, which we've been shooting simultaneously. He asked me to come back to co-directing with him. And my role in that is like nothing technical. I don't know anything about audio or camera or lighting. I don't know any of that technical stuff. What I do know is acting, and that's what he has me do. He has me direct the actors to get the best performance out of them as possible, because me being an actor, and that's one less thing for him to worry about. That he can focus more on the technical side. So
delegation and specialization to make a great team.
Yes, I'm basically just the acting director. And then, if there's, after I've done rehearsal and given them, directed them through scenes and all that, if there's something that he wants to add or take away from it, he'll give final notes or whatever. But usually he's usually happy with what I do with them. This shoot, so we went to Kingsland, Georgia in March. March 3rd is when we hit the road, and March 4th, it's an all-day drive, 16-hour drive for us. And
bloody hell.
We started shooting on March 4th, Saturday, March 4th. And I had been back directing for a few months on all the other shoots. And usually we would have anywhere between 2 and 5 or 6, maybe, like 2 to 5 actors on set. And we get to Kingsland. There's 50 fucking people there. There was like 50 people showed up. And so all these wonderful, like, volunteer, like, background actors, people were there just to and if, we needed to give somebody a line of dialogue or whatever, but just so many just fans of Star Trek and of Avalon and of the Neutral Zone Studios and fan films in general. And it just showed up for their love of Star Trek. They just want to be a part of it, and are willing to donate their time and effort. A lot of them have their own wardrobe, and so there was so many people. So we get there, and it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, something. It was maybe 9 or 10. And Josh is given the morning briefing. He's like, welcome, everybody. I'm your director, Josh Irwin. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'm the director. I'll be controlling all the, technical side of everything. This is my co-director, Tyler Donovan. He will be working with all of the actors. So volunteers, all actors.
I think we
might be losing Tyler.
Yeah, we might be losing him. So let's
pass it to V-Man.
Yeah, let's pass it to V-Man. And I have one question for you, V-Man.
Sure.
How long was the Menard orgy after all of you got in the same room?
It's still going on, baby. That's why it took me so long to get on this podcast right now. So I mean, I just got back from it. So
see, I was worried.
We know Mira Menard's into some kinky stuff. So.
He gets that evil smirk, and it's all over, man. It's all over. No, going to what Tyler said about the directing stuff. I have to say, when I got on set, he's a wonderful director. I think that was the first time I actually met him face to face. I had spoken with him a couple times on the phone, but he's a wonderful director. Whoever said that he wasn't, or said he didn't know what the hell he was doing, they can fuck off, because he is, one, he's an awesome person. And I felt like I had known him for years, but he is a even better director. He put me right at ease. Like, anyone that knows me knows I don't memorize dialogue at all. I work 72 hours a week, so I don't have time to memorize anything. And they were very accommodating, both Josh and Tyler. So they had these big screens so that I could look at the words and read it and emote, because that's where my strengths are, is emoting, not memorizing. And never once did I ever get the impression from either one of those, from Josh or Tyler, who are both professionals. Never once did they ever look at me condescendingly, like, "My God, you fat fuck, what are you doing?" They treated me like I was one of them, and the direction they gave me, they were spot on what they were doing. They were great. He's a wonderful director, and what he was doing, Josh. The one thing that was wonderful seeing both of them working together as best friends, but the trust that both of them had when Josh was able to leave, he was able to say, "Hey, Tyler, take care of this." And seeing Tyler it was just fluid, very fluid, and that trust, that knowing what was going into this, because again, I think Josh said it was like a 2-year thing. Knowing the behind the scenes drama that had gone on with this, that amount of trust that Josh had with Tyler, it was, it was very apparent, and Tyler didn't drop the ball in any of that. And like I said, I had never met him before, but I felt as if I had known him for years. So I don't say that lightly either. I love Tyler to death, and I hope I get to work with him on other projects in the future, because he's a wonderful guy. And I didn't get to say it earlier, but Josh, congratulations on this, man. This was a wonderful feat that you were able to get done. It's a privilege to be part of this, from a guy who 10 years ago, in 3 days, it'll be 10 years that I've been part of fan films. A guy who started on his cell phone, and nobody really wanted me to be a part of their films. And now I'm looking at this going, my God, there's like 20 of me in this fucking film. It's very humbling to be part of something that I feel is the best fan film out there. I mean, this film, I think Josh said like a fifth of the budget of like a Star Trek Continues or a Star Trek Phase 2 or something, like a very minuscule budget. And no offense to any of them. I hope I'm not, starting a war there, but I don't feel like any of them have the heart that this does. I feel like this has so much more heart than any of them. I've never really been interested in watching those, but this, I've watched it like 5 or 6 times, so.
Actually, V-Man, I got one more question if I can jump in. I don't know.
Absolutely.
So you are in my opinion, you are like the Phantom is the quintessential mirror universe villain, like in all track, in my opinion. Like, sure. He's like, sure, yeah, of course it is.
He's just a douchebag, yeah. It's easy to be like, you're a big jerk, sure, go ahead, yeah. Okay.
But after seeing Alex in this role, I'm like, what is it, Mackenzie? Mira Mackenzie might give Mira Menard a run for his money, because I don't. At the end of it,
Michaela Allenby.
Yeah. So yeah. Michaela Allenby, like, I don't know. She's gonna give the Phantom a run for his money, I think, because she was good in that role.
In my opinion, I see it as she really does have the greater good at stake. Like she really does look out for her crew, but she does have an agenda. For the Phantom, he doesn't give a shit about anybody on that ship. He's really just looking out for himself and for power. And for anyone that's watched the Constar films and looked out for the Phantom, like, he's just looking out for himself. And that's the difference between those two. And again, my opinion, I could be wrong. They're kind of two sides of the same coin. They're both jerks. They're both evil, and they both have agendas, and they're very similar because they're from the same place, but their goals are different. She's not as selfish as he is, even though they're self-centered. She doesn't use them as he does, but I really enjoyed that type of character. I think she could give him a run for his money. I personally would love to see him versus her, especially when she's like, "I'm gonna get you, you fat fuck," and he's like, "I got your yellow pad here," jerk face, and then Jordan flies off. Hint, hint, Josh, if you're watching. you know.
Back to you, Tyler. I mean, unless
sorry, I lost you guys.
No, it's okay.
Thank you for joining us. We know
Yeah,
you're
I know
on
we
the
have just
road.
appreciate you being here.
Yeah, for real.
I'm glad I'm able to. I was worried while I was watching it because I stopped when you were talking to Josh. I pulled into a gas station, completely lost signal. It went to like SOS only. Anyway, but while we've got a full signal, let's talk.
So, what do you feel is next for? I know that you have some fan films coming out with Mason involved, but like with your directing, like what besides like an Avalon Universe thing, what is a project that you would like to do? Like maybe like, and let's throw anything at the wall. Like if you're like, you know, what kind of project would you love to work on?
Oh gosh, I mean, I love Avalon so much that I mean, I can't, we've talked about doing a Tough to Kill sequel or reboot. Since you guys inspired us because you like it so much. I mean, we think it's a piece of shit, but we've come so far, in the 10 years since we made that we think we could do it a whole lot better. But part of its charm is that it's not perfect. That's what I don't know. We've talked about that. When you ask me like what I want, it's hard for me to answer that question because like what I want to do, that kind of just comes back to Josh because I mean, Josh is the only guy that gives me the opportunity to direct and things like that. So I think I've been asked to be involved in other fan film series that he's also involved with. So looking forward to that because there are some really good ones. There's one in particular that I really am really interested in, and I think I've been asked to be part of that, and I'm excited about it. Hint: it involves the Monster Maroons, Wrath of Khan era.
Well, no, that's got you excited.
Before we did Ghost Ship, before we decided to do fan films, we were tossing around ideas of what do we want to do, We wanted to make something. And we were talking about, I had imagined a Burn Notice parody, because I really like Burn Notice. I'd like to do that sometime, if that's a thing. He's talked about doing a parody of Renegade, that Lorenzo Lamas show, and having me play a bad guy or some shit. He's talked about doing a Walker Texas Ranger parody and having me be like the old fat guy, which just for the sole purpose that it makes no sense to have me play that role, we've got a handful of ideas. I'm ready to, frankly, I'm glad to, I was thrilled to be back directing, and I've loved playing Mason. It did take a toll on personal relationships doing all the filming. Filming Avalon Universe resulted in Zam. You met my previous girlfriend a couple times. She asked me to go on a vacation with her, and I said, I'm sorry, I can't because I've used all my vacation time filming Avalon Universe, and we've got more shoots. We've still got more shoots to do. So she broke up with me and went to France with some other dude.
It's her loss, I'm telling you. For real. It's her loss.
Which brings me to another point of interest. This film, the shooting of this film is where I met my now current girlfriend. First met her on the set of Crisis back in March, and she's one of the background actresses, like wearing a mirror uniform, long dark hair. Anyway, and that's why I'm driving right now. We're moving. She moved from Jacksonville, Florida, to where I live in Fayetteville, Arkansas. We're like, so we can be together. Anyway,
that's
yeah, but behind the scenes
I
love
moved
story.
To Arkansas for Captain Mason too. I mean, let's be real.
Sweet. so we met in March on the set of this film when I had, you know, like I said, my previous girlfriend and I had broken up, but then like 2 months later we got back together and then broke up again in mid-August. And then and I was having a really hard time, and I had said enough stuff on Facebook that people knew that something was really, really wrong. And my friends had to, you know, my best friends in the world, Josh, Neil, our director of photography, and our friend Brandy, who was a crazy hairdo lady in this one, the one with the blonde wig, was that's in this film, right? Not in, or is that in the next film? What,
I mean, it
was the Asian guy with the skirt in this one?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so she was, all right, so our other friend, Brandy, she was crazy hairdo lady in that shot.
Was she the Vulcan?
No, she had like a blonde, crazy 80s hairdo wig on. She was only in like,
Was she wearing
for
green?
like a few seconds.
She wearing green, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so I was having a really bad time, and the three of them came over to my house because they were really concerned about me, and they had to do an intervention, and they invited some really nice police officers and EMTs that you know, gave me a ride to a psychiatric hospital where I stayed for like a week. So and then when I got out, I just had this outpouring of you know, people you know, messaging me on Messenger. And one of them was this background actress that I didn't really know. I met her once, spoke one sentence to her, and she was like, "Hey, I just wanted to make sure you're okay. I know you don't know me, but you know, I'm just concerned for you." And we got to talk, and we just hit it off. And before we know it, we fell in love. And here we are. So,
good for your mental health, Tyler. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Viman, oh my friend. It's been so long since I've seen you. It's been 2 years. 2 whole years, my friend.
You know, it has been too long, Zanta Claus. How are you, buddy?
I'm trying to stay awake. I apologize. I'm dozing off here and there. You know, like I'm an old man. You know, I'm a few centuries old. You know, and you know, it takes its toll on me. You know, it's like it's already like 3 in.the morning somewhere where I am here in this place in England. You know, yeah. But
it happens to the best of us, man.
Oh yeah, but just seeing you in this film, seeing multiple yous, oh my God, you know, having one V-man is great. Having several V-mans, I'm being spoiled. I really am. And then the focus to be on your evil V-man. Oh, I was over the moon.
Like Josh just said, it was something that he wanted to do from like years ago, like do the Council of Menards, and it was something like I always laughed at that, you know, because it's, you know, whoever, you know, whenever someone makes a joke that you never take seriously, you just kind of chuckle and move on. But when we actually were talking about seriously me coming out there and filming, and I was like, okay, what exactly do you got for me? And he's like, okay, we got to set up the shot and bring all your uniforms. I was like, well, which one? You mean like my red and my gold? Because I knew that I'd be having the happily ever after for Menard. And he said, no, bring all your uniforms, like the Battlestar Galactica, the Orville, the Galaxy Quest, like bring all your uniforms. I was like, wait, what? He's like, well, we're doing the Council of Menards. I was like, oh, you're serious about this? He's like, yeah, I wasn't kidding around. I was like, oh man. But like it's one of those things again, like I said, like 10 years ago I was a guy who, you know, was just making films on my cell phone, and now here I am in what I think is the greatest film out there. And you know, there's 20 of me, you know. I do love the fact that it's he didn't make the focal point the Phantom, but the Phantom's in there enough to where if you know the character, it's just enough where you're like, God, I love it, you know, because he gets everybody in the end, you know. But if you don't know, then you're sitting there going, oh, that guy, he got the main guy, you know, the main villain. Oh man, he really got her, you know. So it's enough to where it's enough of a surprise. But yet, if you know that it's it's not it's not really a surprise, so it's just the film works on so many levels, and one thing I said in the chat when we were all watching it was, not only is it a great fan film, crossover, CGI effects, visual effects, all those things, but it's a great story that works. You almost forget that you're watching the same actress play several different parts, or that you have several different crews that are actually the same people, just in multiple different things. It's a story that it's just a good story that works on a fundamental level. And I think MageO'Rage said something along those same lines, that the story just works, and it at the heart of it is a good story of looking inward and going, who am I? Allenby, looking at the three Allenbys. I really like that, where the one doesn't have the father, and she's kind of like, oh man, my life kind of sucks, but I'm happy with my choices. The other one, has a father, but she's not happy with her life choices. And then the other one's just like, oh man, I'm a douchebag and screw everybody. I mean, it really does make you kind of look at your life and go, what are my choices in life? Am I happy with who I am? So, I mean, the story, it just really, really works. And then Josh, for those of us who have been behind the scenes, we look at the story from a completely different level, and we're like, yeah, I know why you wrote that. I get why you wrote this. Like, we understand, like, there's so many different levels to all these things. And that's what any filmmaker does, is they take their personal experiences and put them in those films. So again, on so many levels, the film works. And the thing that really works on this film is, even if you're not a fan of Star Trek, if you love Battlestar Galactica, there's stuff here. If you love Orville, there's stuff here. If you love you just whatever, there's a little bit here and there. It just works.
You can remove Trek trappings, but it still works on a fundamental level as a story.
Yeah, I mean, in our chat, we had Ginger Greek in the chat, and he is not a Trekkie at all. He doesn't like Trek, and he gave this fan film a 10 out of 10. Normally, it is very hard to please Ginger Greek, especially when it comes. But I mean, he also looks at it not just because it's Star Trek. He looks at it from a story telling standpoint, and and from all these other things. Yeah, you're right. Like from even from an outside perspective, he's like, this is good. Like, I like this.
Yeah. And that's thing, like, Josh had so many things working against him. But flip side of the coin, because we all knew, people like Tyler, people like me, people like Lynn Wolfe, and so many others who, because of what Josh means to us, and because of our love for the Avalon universe, like, we all wanted him to succeed. So we were all pulling for him and saying, what can we bring to the table? What can we do to help you? And because we all knew the hardships that Josh was going through. I mean, there was so much going against him that did not want him to succeed. For all of us to root for him to get this made, it's a success story for him. And I think it was Zanta Claus that said that this was like the Avengers Endgame. And you're absolutely right. Like, I know we have the Lots of Future Captain coming, and I know that it has those pew-pews that Cheeto was talking about that he likes. But for me, and I was telling Josh this earlier today when him and I were on the phone talking, for me, this is the climax of all the Avalon stuff. To me, this is it. This is it don't get no better than this, because to me, this wraps up all the character stuff, because I know what it took to get this made. And Josh, it took him 2 years to get all these different films made, from Knights of the Void, this one, and then Watson Future Captain. Like, Josh went balls to the walls making all these made, because he was like, man, if I don't get all these people now, I may not have access to them later. So he was very crafty on what he got done. And then he took people like Tyler, who was like, hey, I'm going to trust you to get this shit done. When I go over here, you've got to handle this. And then Tyler, being the crafty guy that he is, went and did his shit. It's like everybody excelled on what they were supposed to do, and they got it, and that's one of the smart things when you have somebody in charge, a producer. They trust their people to do what they're supposed to do, and Tyler excelled. People like Glenn Wolfe excelled. People like Jonathan Lane, went to his people, was like, hey, they need this. Can you help? And then they did it. It's like everybody was working on all cylinders to get this made. And I think it makes this project that much more beautiful of a fan project, which, no offense to the big guns like Continues or Phase 2, but you guys don't have those type of struggles that we did, and so I think this is a much better project.
Power of teamwork and friendship.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just want to say
apologize, but I'm going to have to go. I can't. It's getting very late for me. But it's been very nice talking to you all, and I look forward to the next get together. And if I don't see you anytime soon, I just want to wish you both, especially you, Tyler and V-Man, a very, 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 very Christmas. Okay.
Merry Christmas, Santa Claus.
Santa. Live long and prosper,
Bye-bye.
buddy. Get some rest.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
So on that note, I just want to bring up Rick Berman is in the chat right now. He says, get rid of Alex Kurtzman. And the only way I would really agree with him is if you replace him with Josh Irwin. Yeah, I mean, you can get rid of Alex Kurtzman, but you got to put Josh Irwin in that place. And if you can't get Josh Irwin, then sorry. Alex Kurtzman's not doing a terrible job with, now. I mean, maybe in the beginning, but now he's not, in my opinion. But anyway. Okay, Mage, you got any more questions, bud?
I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Do you have anything else that you'd like to ask as a final thought, Cheeto?
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And it's for Tyler. Tyler, how satisfied are you knowing that you guys are mostly done with the Avalon stuff, and knowing where you guys started and then kind of dipped down and now where you guys are? How satisfied are you as an actor and then director and kind of behind the scenes? Like, how happy are you? Oh, I think he cut out. Oh, okay, he's back. How satisfied are you, Tyler, with knowing where everything went to where we are now? How satisfied are you, director, producer, actor? How satisfied are you, man?
We may not actually have Tyler anymore, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I was say I don't think he has it. Ah, shucks. I really wanted to.
That was a good question. That was a doozy.
Yeah, because I know Josh and I had talked about that earlier. Because again, like him and I have been like ever since I saw the first like a month and a half ago or 2 months ago when I saw the first screening of it or early screening of it, which had very rough visual effects. Like I've been sitting on this shit going, man, I can't wait to I can't wait. Like it's been on the tip of my tongue.
And we were like, this is gonna be good. I was like, oh man, if you man saying that, I can't wait.
Yeah, dude, I've been saying for 2 months, this is gonna be, you guys are like, and like I have to say, and I know this is probably gonna upset some people or shock some people, but like I rushed out some films that I was a part of just because I didn't want anything to come out after this. Like I wanted this to be the happy ending for Menard, because I don't want to do any more cameos after like I'm this when I saw that screening a month and a half ago, like I was like, nope, this is it. Like I know I filmed a something for Josh for the Once and Future Captain, so that of course, but I was like, I'm done. I mean, I know I'm doing something with Royce for Constar, that's a father-son project, but I was like, once you do this, what do you do? Like, how do you it's just it's done.
You really
so like
want your Steve Rogers Endgame into
it really was like it really like Josh. It's that high note. Like I already retired from my films, and I know I got some shit for people who are like, oh, you didn't really retire because you're still doing cameos, and I'm like, guys, I'm helping people out with their films. But like once I saw this, I was like, this is the high note, like Menard's. What else can you do, So yeah, it is kind of no. But hey, Tyler, are you back, Tyler? Do we got you back?
Yes.
Okay, so my question before we lose you, so hopefully we don't. How satisfied are you as an actor slash director slash maybe producer or sort of producer, whatever? How satisfied are you from seeing how you did Avalon at the beginning to where it kind of dipped to where you guys are now? How satisfied are you seeing everything kind of wrap up with all the stuff?
I couldn't be happier with the way Crisis turned out, came together, and that's all. I mean, it's mostly on Josh. He's right that yes, it is a team of great people. There's so many wonderful people that contributed so much to this, and of course, yeah, we couldn't, it couldn't have been done without all of those people. But Josh was the one that goes and asks those wonderful people for, hey, I need this. Can you do this for me? Can you contribute? He's the one that made it all happen, put it all together. So, but I couldn't be happier with the way it turned out, and hearing not only Zam, Cheeto, and Mage all give it a 10, and wanting to give it higher if there was more than 10. But also, and also Ginger, they say he's the toughest audience and he doesn't like Star Trek, and he gave it a 10. Hearing that right there, that's just proof enough to me that we really got it right, and really got it back to the original vision of it's supposed. Avalon Universe was always meant from the beginning to be fun, action adventure comedy. That's what it was always meant to be. And then when I was gone, it was not, because of the influence of another person, which is fine. Yeah. Josh allowed another person to influence the direction and the tone of where Avalon went with the next couple of films. I don't care for them. I don't care for that style. But it's, so it's, but it's not just that I don't just dislike those films just because I wasn't in them. I wasn't really in this one much as an actor, and I love it. I love this film. And the next one coming out that he was talking about, like War and Peace kind of deal, my face doesn't appear in that one at all. But I did co-direct it, and so and I love it. And there have been other films that I've loved that I don't have to be in it for me to like it. So the reason I don't like Demons or Air and Darkness has nothing to do with my lack of involvement, but it was a different, those films were not in line with the original vision of what Avalon Universe was supposed to be. And this just nails it. The spirit of what Avalon was meant to be from the beginning. This takes that feeling of Ghost Ship and just amplifies it exponentially, I believe. This was, we did so many stupid, ridiculous, random, Rick and Morty style things that were just so far out of left field. It's like, what is this, So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled with it. And also having so many other, fan filmmakers and actors from other fan films, characters from other fan films, like yourself, Vance, and Sam Cockings, and, those guys, and, bringing other fan films into our fan films. And, it's really a community, making it just the community that it should be. It shouldn't be a competition or, fan filmmakers squabbling at each other, and we should be working together and supporting each other. And this is a very good example of that. And real quick, before I wanted to say this earlier before I got cut off, Vance, it was an absolute pleasure finally getting to meet you in person, and such a privilege to get to direct, the V-Man himself. It was just, it was great.
I tell you that. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
That lunch, I had such a great time when we all went out to lunch, just bullshitting and talking. And I tell you, man, you made it such a fun experience because thou who shall not be named made it such an awkward fucking talk. One of the drafts that was spoken about was since I couldn't come up there and memorize dialogue, was that I would just stand in the background and be a bodyguard with a mask on, a Bane type mask. And I was like, are you serious? And I couldn't wear my green hoodie that I would wear black leather. And I'm like, do you even know who the Phantom is? Like, what are you? So like, no, dude, I was so nervous coming up there, but you instantly put all that to rest. And I mean, no, dude, you are awesome, man. You and Josh, seeing you guys work as a team, it was great pleasure, man. Good fun.
You know, I don't have a problem with. I don't know why people get. I don't know. I've never been to film school. I've never, worked in Hollywood. I know that there's supposed to be all these rules and standards and all this bullshit that, like, oh, you're not supposed to give actors line readings because that's insulting to the actors. Well, when you're working in fan films and an actor's not giving you the performance or the delivery you need, sometimes you have to do shit like that. But also, this whole, well, no, Vance can't, he has to memorize your line. That's the job of an actor. You know what? If your style is, hey, feed me the lines and I'll say them, I'll do that. I don't see a need for all these rules and bullshit. I mean, if that's the way you do it, let's do it, you made me feel. We'll put a teleprompter there for you. We'll, whatever you need. You tell us what you need, and we'll help you.
It's about production. It ultimately, in the end, giving V-Man what he needs to bring his best performance is best for the production. Get your head out of your ass and let the man do his thing. His performance is way beyond anything I do when I memorize dialogue. The memorizing got in the way.
Well, and you guys may not know this, but like the me and Jennifer Rader, the one who plays Kayoka, is it her name? Kayoka? Ioka. We never met, and we were never in the same room. Like, we shot all that on the green screen. We never met, and it was shot a year apart. And she was. Yeah, she was talking to Alex and I was talking to Tyler, and when you got the close up, like, I'm looking at the teleprompter or I'm responding to him, like, to me that's a testament to Josh's filming and how he does the cinematography and all that, like, all that stuff, the lighting. Like, if I wouldn't have known, if I wasn't there, like, I would never have guessed, because the rooms look great. To me, that really did that, and Picard season 3, when they go on the Enterprise D, inspired me to go do the film with Royce and try to do some of that, because it's like, man, movie magic, dude. I mean, it's again, like, what works for the people works, and Tyler and Josh were really accommodating, I think you guys are.
To be fair?
Sure.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's really all I had to say is you guys are great.
To be fair, I know I said just a minute ago, well, whatever you need, we'll do it for you. If you need to read a teleprompter, you need, cue cards, or need us to feed you your lines. Now, I will say that that's a privilege that you have earned, that you get just because you're you. I wouldn't do that for any and every actor. Like, if we brought in a featured, featured background that had a few lines of dialogue, or if we brought in a supporting actor who who'd never been on set before or never worked with us before or whatever, and they don't have their lines memorized, hey, that's a problem, but especially since people in those kind of roles, very small supporting roles, that have very little dialogue anyway. But so yeah, we usually do expect people to have their dialogue memorized, but I mean, you've got a lot more to say than most supporting roles, and and you're V-Man, so I mean, hell, yeah, we're gonna do whatever it takes to, you know,
The
to
Stan
accommodate you.
Lee of fan films.
Yes.
Well, bless your heart. But no, I like I said, I got to grab my numbers here real quick. But you guys, honestly, you guys, I can't wait to see what Watson Future Captain is, because it. Now you're in that one, right? Watson Future Captain, you and Chikande, and yeah, I am stoked because I never got to read the script. I just read like my scenes for, and I was like, man, this is. I'm going into a completely blind, so it is. Anything you can tell us about that one coming up, Tyler?
Once and Future Captain will be the conclusion to Mason's current story arc. Mason and Archer and Allenby and Chikande, all of their story arcs current story arcs will be concluded in Once and Future Captain. It's the big climax. It's gonna be less of a comedy than this one. It's gonna be very intense. There's still, of course, but it's an Avalon film, so there's still humor, even in scenes that weren't written to be funny. You know, the big, you know, the fight between. I don't think this is a spoiler. I mean, yeah, there is a fight between Mason and the villain, and there was only very little dialogue written for that, and he and I, the actor playing the bad guy, just improv'd all of this dialogue, and it just came out funny because we're both funny guys. We're both, you know, fun-loving, like to joke around, and all this, you know, all this banter we came up with just makes the scene funny, you know, while being intense at the same time. So, but yeah, Once and Future Captain is going to be a lot more action, suspense, thrilling. It's going to be thrilling and gripping and kind of edge of your seat kind of deal. But there still will be humor in it. We just can't help but crack jokes, you know. So look for that sometime in the next year.
All right.
We look forward to it.
With that preview, I think it's time we wrap it up, guys. It's almost been 3 hours, and I'm so very happy that we got all of you guys on. We always love having you guys here, no matter what. You know, whether you're driving to Arkansas or whether you're, you know, getting your numbers, we love you guys so much for being here.
Love you guys too. Thanks for having us. It's always a pleasure. Cheeto, Mage, thanks so much. We love, you know, I love watching your stuff, even when it doesn't have anything to do with us. So.
Yeah, big fan.
Oh yeah, I mean, you guys are always welcome here. You guys know that, so you know, we just, you know, we love you guys. Do such a good job with all of this stuff. So it's just that's why we got into it. That's why we do this, is because we really believe in these productions that you guys are doing. So
these are two of the three productions that I say have the most heart in fan films, not just Trek fan films, but in any fan films. You guys and Tread Not Dominion, they've got the heart. Constar, Avalon, Tread Not Dominion got the heart. And we love that.
No, thank you.
So thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. Thank you to everybody.
I like Farragut too. I like the Farragut films.
We ain't talking about Farragut here. No, I'm kidding. Frank, you know what, Frank did not have a wig on, so 0 out of 10. I changed my number.
I did not mean to leave Frank out. I thought I was including Frank. I'm sorry. Frank is awesome. So yeah. So I want to thank you guys for joining us. Thank you to everybody who came tonight to support the original release of Avalon, Crisis on Infinite Excalibers. Thank you for joining us.
Can I make one more acknowledgement?
No, absolutely not.
Can I make one acknowledgement?
Go for it. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I lost you for a second. But yeah, I just want to make one acknowledgement. And I don't want to leave anybody out. All the actors and all the cast, all the crew was wonderful in this. But I really got to give a huge pat on the back to Alex Rexford. She played so many different versions of the same character. She had so many costume changes. She was freezing her ass off at different points. She had so much dialogue to memorize and bouncing back and forth between, you know, having to play so many distinctively different personalities. And she never bitched once. She never complained. She just did it. She had to, I mean, there was one day where she had to redo wardrobe, hair, and makeup like 9 times, and she even had the nerve to credit me for her performance, and I said, "Bullshit." She was like, "I couldn't have done this without you, without your." I'm like, "No, that's not true at all." I was like, "You had it in you the whole time. I just went over lines with you. I didn't teach you how to act. She's just wonderful. She's got a great work ethic as an actor, and I think more actors should look at her as an example.
She really did knock it out of the park.
Oh my
I said
God.
earlier, she in all the scenes that she was playing, like she was working off of herself. Like I believe that she was working with separate people, and I mean I'm sure there were people off screen like working with her, but still, like even in the scenes where you could see both of them, you know what I mean? Like see the two of them, or even the three of them. It's like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah. And Josh is really good with compositing, so
yeah.
Anyway, that's all I had.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. Thank you, everybody who came out to watch tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the interviews. I know we enjoyed the hell out of watching Crisis on Infinite Excalibers. So maybe consider liking the video, subscribing to this channel, because we do a lot more than we do a bunch of fan film reactions here on NerdTube. Also consider showing up tomorrow. We have the current events, Friday night, World's Gone Insane. Let's talk about it podcast. Ginger Greek will be here, and he'll have all sorts of stuff on the docket to talk about with chat. So definitely want to show up for that tomorrow evening. I want to thank you, V-Man. I want to thank you, Tyler Donovan. Josh Irwin was here. It was great to have him.
And
Go for it, Tyler.
Oh, I just wanted to say really quick that if you are watching this first for some unknown reason, and not Crisis, the link is in the description.
Okay.
So the link is in the description. Click on it and go watch the film in its original glory on the Avalon Universe channel, and then go and subscribe to Avalon, because you need to. When we all rank 10 out of 10s, you are required as a subscriber to this channel to subscribe to whatever we say. Anyway,
please
go ahead.
support the original release.
Yeah, support the original release.
Yeah, I need to go do that. I always tune into you guys first for premieres.
I don't know why.
The folks should go watch the film without our chucklehead asses talking over it.
Yeah,
because I'm going to go watch it again for sure. But no, thank you guys for joining us. It's been a wonderful evening. So I just want to thank everybody. Cheeto, V-Man, Tyler, have a wonderful evening. Everybody out there in YouTube land, live long and prosper. And we'll see you next time.
The best channel you've never heard of.
Peace and long life, motherfucker.